continue. All right then. I guess part 11 starts on intermission. I suppose that's a bit odd, but you know, yeah, that's fine. The current has been concluded. We are now on a double route. Yes. Now, what to update? Nothing to update. It's literally been only a few minutes this time around. There hasn't. Yes. Continuing on with the. All right, we can just, I guess, just take away this thing now. I guess I have to do that as well, since it's intermission. Everything it has to be all prim and proper, doesn't it? I guess. Yes. All right. Well, I can't deny that. Oh, no, this one's called different. Another short story that we need to do. Because we have to. This one is called Only People. Oh. Anyway. Yes, all these I wrote and uploaded to the thing years ago. Oh, let's get the information correctly, and then there we go. This is stuff I usually do beforehand, but whatever. And you, I guess you are something. What are you, heading one? I guess you're heading one. Is all of them? Sure. Anyway, this one is called Only People. This one has an actual name for some reason. Anyway, let's get this out of the way. Another poem thingy, apparently. They call me monster, saint, animal, genius, villain, and savior. Yet I am a man, like any other before me, and so many after. They do this for one reason: to deny their own capacity, both for good and for ill. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. The same holds true for me. Alienate the extremes, and to put the figures of history falsely out of reach. No animal as cunning, no monster so devoted. Only people, we make it so. Such acts beyond reality. So I've had this thought in my mind basically for a very long time. The whole people like monsters is less than person. Monsters aren't as scary or impressive as people. And you're denying that. Yes. Okay, so that hasn't really changed in 40 years' time. Good to know. Good to know. That has stayed true. Because, yeah, that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, honestly. Like calling someone a monster. It's like, yeah, no, people are people. They're the ones who do the things. Monsters are just an excuse to deny that people are capable of such things. So, yeah. Something that's, yeah, so that's literally start of part 1 whenever Watase said, "You monster," at Natsuko. No, he's not. Fuck that. Hasn't been true then, isn't true now, like 55 hours later. Yes, now, then, we continue with Route Double Before Crime After Days, part 11. Route Double. Yeah, it's just, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, and Route Double, Natsuko Tenkan and Watase Kasazagi, the perspectives, both of them. Oh my god. Look at all these stars, all these potential. Oh my god, this is. Okay, yeah. Okay. Jeez. I think this might be a long one. I think this might be a long one. Alright, I was kind of worried that we were gonna instantly go into there and like I might finish this in a single sitting all of a sudden today. Oh, no. There's no fucking way that's happening. But yes, anyway, let's just go into it. We're not fucking about now. Anyway, yeah. The boy who lifts his wounded body determined to solve the mysteries. Awake, calls a voice once more to the man who has fallen. The boy's true power awakened. The man's memories resurrected. 9 trapped souls, unknown pasts, and their true foe's face were unveiled. Times and perspectives overlap. their senses of justice at odds, their disparate morals clash. The answers to guide them overlap in a place as yet unknown. Whose will shall at last decide the final decision to be made? So many endings, but man, we're gonna die a lot, aren't we? This is... Okay, let's begin. Bloody hell. Blessed is he who, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weakened through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. Finder of lost children. The Old Testament, Ezekiel 25:17. Daily Bible quote indeed. Hello, Yuri. I think that's her speaking. I was speaking over that. Anyway, Labo. It all happened inside this facility. Indeed it did. So much. Yuri's alive! The fuck is up with that though? What the hell? Explain. Explain. What do we do, Hikari? Okay, they are explaining. I'm scared. Don't cry, Yuri. I'll do something. 9 years ago, the young boy desperately tried to save the girl. Hikari, it's time to say goodbye. Hallucination. And then the time came for the boy to part with the girl's phantom. But in reality, I'm glad I could be there for you. Aw, Mashi was a good kid. He then truly connected with the childhood friend who had supported him. And confrontation, and staked his life in an effort to save her. You're not getting away! No, he's not. Ow. He's mustered the last of his strength to defeat a man full of malice. For a while, time stopped for them. But after 4,896 seconds had passed, that is, what is that? That is, how long is that for you? Divide this, that's something like, well, a few hundred minutes. All right, it would be like 9 hours, I guess. Just the thing. Time began to move once again. Yeah, just the length of the thing. Captain. Captain, please hang in there, Captain. Get up, Captain. Come on. Ah, you finally come to, haven't you? What am I? The man woke up, burdened with the duty of rescue squad captain. Why are you going through this far to save my life? Oh, getting another recap. Okay. Isn't it obvious? It's because I'm a rescue squad captain. And he fought with his life on the line to fulfill that duty. Okay, yeah. But regardless of his hard fight, several lives were still lost. Yeah, this one... well, not lost it. And even comrades who he had to save. Yeah, bore their fangs at him. We're just trying to save you guys. Why can't you understand that? I thought I told you to stop telling such transparent lies. You think you can trick me after you shot Natsuko? Huh? You're lying, right? The captain would never do anything like that, right? Even the woman whom he trusted the most began to doubt him. Even though he had thought they'd made a genuine connection. You did, but there's, it's Natsuko's fault there. You went down the wrong path, Watase. Now it's time for you to receive your punishment for that choice. Slam. Okay. It all happened inside this facility. From two different viewpoints, the boy and the man observed this story, these events, and the world, carving them all into their memories. Indeed, I have carved a lot of this into my memory. And at the end of their arduous journey, these two spirits and bodies confronted one another in the same place. Get up. None of this is over yet. You and I will save everyone from this nightmare. Ye. Awake, a voice then called to him. Or perhaps he was the voice who called out. Deep within the whitewashed tomb, their times overlapped, and once again began to move. Double chapter 1. 3 o'clock. 3 hours and 3 minutes until lockdown is lifted, eh? You and I will save everyone from this nightmare. Natsuko's perspective. But by the time Natsuko said that, Watase had already lost consciousness. Yeah. Hey, come on, this is no time to sleep. Wake up. Dude, you were inside so you know all the shit he went through. Like, he's fucking exhausted. The man sleep for a bit. But no matter how many times he tried to rouse him from his slumber, Watase did not awaken. On the contrary. He began to froth from the mouth and convulse. Oh, right, the WX particles, they're kind of doing stuff to his body. That's not good, right? He's actually literally dying. Fix that. Hey, what's wrong? You know what's wrong. WX particles, they do things, bad things to the human body and stuff like that. Fix. No response. There was clearly something wrong with him. What's going on? Is it because Miss Tachibana struck him? No, come on, you read it. You literally read it just a few minutes ago. You realized it. As that thought crossed Natsuko's mind, he began to hear the whirring of the gigantic machine surrounding him. Yeah, there we go. That's the answer. No, is this machine to... Yes, you know this. Natsuko slipped the Procyon out of Watase's pocket. When he switched it on, it's like, what, 50,000? The reading spiked to 13,492 MSV. That's huge! Yeah, it is. According to the WX Particle Amplify manual, values over 8,000 can cause symptoms including unconsciousness. And it's about time for Watase's AD to wear off as well. If this machine is dispersing half more particles, then could his unconsciousness and convulsion be due to that? Yes, welcome to that assumption. But if that were the case, then why was Natsuiko okay? Because you are psychic god, that's why. He didn't particularly feel a headache, his gunshot wounds hurt, but he managed to keep standing. Natsuko's condition had improved thanks to Watase and Kazumi's treatment. It's far from complete recovery, but it's not like I have to keep myself warmed into someone else's mind to stay alive anymore. On the other hand, Watase looks like he's in danger here. I gotta get him out of an area N. Take the elevator down. Right when he thought that, he caught sight of a certain something in the corner of his eye. It's in the middle of the facility. A security card split in two. Oh yeah, that's your... It was the level N card that Natsuko had at one point that Watase had snapped. Can it still be used? Depends on where it's been snapped. But probably not. When he picked up both halves, he noticed that the paw that was swiped through the slot reader was apparently still intact. Well, there we go. The answer is yes. It can be used. He put the card fragment in his pocket, wedged his blood transfusion kit under his arm, and grabbed Watase's hand. He's like twice your weight. He thus started dragging Watase across the floor. Can't go towards Area 2, Miss Tachibana's on the other side. Areas 1 and 3 are dangerous too. You could very well run into Mr. Ukita or Jun. And Areas 4 and 5 are contaminated in their inner rings, so that narrows our options down to just Area 6. With that thought in mind, Natsuko desperately dragged Watase. Damn, he's heavy. Just how many kilos does he weigh? As, a healthy, physically fit adult man, he should weigh like something like 90 kilos. Something around that range. 80, 90, that's healthy. Like, yeah, I weigh like 70. That's like, could stand to use a few more, honestly. For my height and build, but that's fine. Watase seems to have a similar one, maybe slightly taller, bulkier, so yeah. Like, it's not that much. He can drag 80 kilos across the floor. Judging by his physique, he must have been nearly 90, yeah, there we go, 90 kilos. And you're like a skinny, like 50 kilo teenage high school who's never done really much physical activity or anything like that. The more strength he used, the more his entire body hurt. Yep, that's what it's gonna do. The gunshot wound in his arm opened up and seeped with blood. And Natsuko was now trying to save the one who inflicted that very wound upon him. Yeah, things are weird. He dragged him further and brought him into the connecting passageway. And once he finally reached Area 6... damn it, I can't keep this up. Natsuko collapsed on the spot, his strength shot. He had used up what little stamina he had regained. He tried to catch his breath. His body felt too heavy to be his own. It was too much of a bother to even sit up. But it should be fairly safe now that we've gotten this far, right? He checked the Procyon. The reading had dropped to 3,911 MSV. A value quite lower than it had been when Watase had gone to Area 6 before. Now that I think about it, that's the first time I've seen the reading decrease, isn't it? Yes, what is happening there? The readings had always been rising, but it was only after they had come in this far that he finally saw a reading decrease. He didn't know why that was, but, it's good. Just take victories wherever you can. For now, I guess we should be thankful, both me and Watase. Hey, Watase, feeling a little better now? Right after he called out to Watase, Natsuko suddenly noticed something. Wait, if I called him casual by his first name like that, he would definitely think it was strange. Natsuko adjusted his tone and addressed him more formally. Kasagi, please wake up. Ah, can you hear me, Captain? Captain Kasagi. Natsuko kept calling out to him, and eventually Watase weakly began to move. Watase's perspective. Kasagi, wake up. I'm switching perspectives. Oh, that's great. Can you hear me? Watase awoke to the sound of that voice calling out to him. Oh, good. You're awake. Aren't you? It's complicated. Watase was surprised to see the one who had woken him up. It was none other than the survivor who he had found severely injured. Natsuhiko. He had been woken by the same person he had been trying to save. He then realized that he was not in the same place that he had fainted in. Where are we? It's right on the floor. On the wall. Why do they want to say floor? I don't know. We're in Area 6's inner ring. Did you bring me all the way here? Yeah, it looked like being in Area N was taking a toll on you, so I figured it would be best. I see. Thank you. His head still throbbed as always, but it wasn't anything he couldn't shake off. Watase forced a smile on his face. I'm impressed that you brought me so far. I probably weigh a ton. Well, I managed. But if you open any of our wounds up... Just then, Watase noticed something that made his blood run cold. The blood dripping to the floor from Natsuhiko's arm. You did open your wounds. I have to treat you. No, it's just a scratch. No, it's not. You cannot leave scratches here. You are not the Black Knight. It is not. No. You can't act that way. Not in your condition. What's more, they would likely run into Kazumi or one of the others if they stayed in the hallway. Watase lifted Natsuko up and dashed into a nearby room. Just... I love the imagery there. Just like, you know, just pick him up and go somewhere else. It's like... he then laid Natsuko on the floor and set the transfusion kit to the side. Then he removed the needle and reinserted it into one of Natsuhiko's veins. Last, he ripped off part of his shirt and wrapped it around Natsuhiko's arm. I know it's just simple first aid, but you think you'll be okay? I think I'm alright. I see. Sorry, I would have used current sealed up if I had any left. Even so, the reopened wound appeared to be getting smaller. Watase's treatment seemed to have stopped the bleeding. Watase then tended to his own gunshot wound in his side before finally turning his full attention to Natsuhiko. How's the transfusion going? Is the blood flowing properly? Yeah, thanks to you. It looks like I'll be fine in that regard, at least. Great. But let me know right away if you start feeling worse. Thanks. Natsuko gave him a feeble answer. The weakness of his voice and the delay in his response was likely due to his injuries. Well, there's more to it. Man, those are some terrible wounds. I mean, that Luis girl got hurt in her arm, but this is just... Weren't you, Luis, and that Mashiro Toba girl together at first? Well, yes. So you got separated from them? Well... yeah, it happened when we were running around the facility. Trying to get away from all those fires and explosions. Yeah. It's alright. I see, it truly was a disaster. But you're safe here for now. I know you must be worried about your friends, but take a moment to rest. Okay, though I don't think we'll be able to stay here for long. Miss Tachibana and the others could be chasing us after all. Looks like you know about our current situation, eh? How long have you been awake? The entire time. Natsuko hesitated to answer that question for a moment, then replied in a low voice, Come on, come clean. Keeping secrets isn't really gonna help. Just around the time you went into Area N. This isn't gonna help you, you know. This is not gonna help you in the long run, Natsuko. None of your decisions have helped you in the long run. Huh? You were already conscious by then? Just barely. Anyway, I just happened to see what occurred back then. After that, I wasn't focused on what was going on, though. I also know you lost your memories, yet still tried to save everyone in spite of that. And I also saw Miss Tachibana suddenly go nuts and attack you. Yeah, as far as I know, I've got 3 other enemies aside from her. Old Man Okita, Moribe, and Luis. So we're surrounded on all sides, aren't we? Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Teacher's gone off to who knows where, and I don't even know if Yuri's alive or not. Yeah, nobody knows that. We do, the audience knows, but none of them know. That she actually is alive, and bound and gagged underground for some reason? What? So with those two out of the equation, I guess that means you might be my only ally here. That is correct. Me? Well, who else? Well, yeah, you did save me. Natsuko didn't answer. He just stared at Watase. What's wrong? Did I say something weird? No, it's nothing. I'm clean. Say everything. Natsuko muttered to himself, then looked away from Watase. Telepathy. Natsuko found himself disgusted by Watase's word choice. Why? Lisa, I cannot say I completely agree with that word, but that's practically what's happening though. But Watase certainly is the one I can trust the most right now. Yeah, odd how that works. Indeed, Natsuko had the best seat in the house to witness the amnesiac Watase's desperate struggle, so he could attest to his reliability. Now that they were face to face like this, things could finally begin. Let's investigate each other one at a time. Each matter one at a time, including whether or not a monster exists here. No, it doesn't. I can say for certain a monster does not exist. A person exists who's not in control or who's being forced to do things that they're not really comfortable with. First, what's the current situation? Who's friend and who's foe? Could Natsuko consider anyone else an ally besides Watase? Well, you can consider Louise to be your ally, but not Watase's ally, I guess. And that's it. Masho's out cold, maybe, or maybe she's gonna make a sudden reappearance. She's gonna make a sudden appearance. She has to. Otherwise, she wouldn't really serve much of a purpose in the story beyond emotional support before then, I guess. At the very least, Louise is probably on his side. Other than her, no, crazy. It looks like any other words are getting. Doesn't look like any words are getting through to Jun, Ukita, or Tachibana. And Miss Ukita appears to be the same way, as well as, and the latest one to turn violent is Miss Tachibana, eh? Those three were completely deranged. Trying to talk things out with them would likely be a fruitless endeavor. That is her, but Professor Tsubakiyama seemed quite composed in comparison, but where the fuck is she? However, there were too many mysteries surrounding Anna. Yeah, why did she have a gun? Why was she in Lavo? Natsuko had no idea. Then there's that girl who called herself Yuri. What about her? So there's like two of them, maybe? Or, who the fuck knows? I'm not even gonna try to guess anymore. He knew next to nothing about this Yuri. The girl mysteriously appeared and mysteriously disappeared. Who in the world is she? No, don't tell me she's... No, she's not. Is that even possible? This is a cool shot, though. That's a cool visual, though. I like this. Yancy. The moment that thought crossed his mind, he suddenly heard something in his head. Hikarin. A familiar voice. Natsuko gasped at the echoing voice as the echoing voice continued inside his brain. Hikarin, save me. There was no mistaking it. That was BC. And it sounded like Yuri's voice. Yuri? Huh? Hikarin? Response. An attempt to telepathy on Natsuko's part garnered a response from Yuri. Are you Yuri? You are, aren't you? Yeah. I know you might find it hard to believe, though. Yeah, I mean, I don't, but like, what? Then is this voice your telepathy? Yeah, you see, I'm a communicator. After a short silent pause, she continued. I know it doesn't make any sense coming from me when I'm supposed to have died 9 years ago. Okay, so she's aware of that as well. Explanations, please. But please, believe in me, Hikarin. I choose to believe in her, because she still feels like the same defenseless little bunny. Like, just needs to be protected and helped, and like, it's not, she's just, it's nonsense, all of this. You see, I'm actually still alive. And I knew you were here in this facility. This whole time I've been thinking, if only I could see you. The tone of her voice perfectly matched that of the one Yuri used in his memories. No, it was more than just that. The emotions conveyed with her telepathy and the contents of her words both seemed to indicate that Yuri was indeed the owner of that voice. Yuri. Various emotions ebbed and flowed within Natsuhiko's mind. He was convinced that she was no monster. There were countless things he wanted to tell her, countless things he wanted to ask her. But Natsuko stayed his heart and responded, Of course, Yuri. Of course I believe you. I believe anything you say. Well, you shouldn't do that, though. That's a bit extreme as well. I've wanted to see you all this time, too. To the point where I broke my mind and created a fake version of you that was living with me for these past 9 years. Thank you, Hikarin. I'm not. Her telepathy conveyed to Natsuko how touched she felt. So he continued as a means to give her some peace of mind. By the way, Yuri, are you safe? Well, she's bound and gagged. Yeah, I'm not hurt in particular or anything. Thank goodness. So, where are you now? I'm in a place called The Shelter. Uh-oh. The Shelter in quotation mark. That's basically never a good sign. Shelter? There's a secret room in Area 5. Secret room? He was surprised for a second, but now that he thought about it, he was in a peculiar facility. Yeah. Perhaps it wasn't such an oddity for it to have a secret room or two. Yeah, an entire underground thing. Yuri, please give me the details. Where exactly is that room? Area 5's outer ring, B1. There should be a numeric keypad on the wall close to the emergency staircase. If you press in 107215, the wall should open, revealing a door. So that's it. Now that you mention it, he did see something like that when he had been inside Watasa's mind. Hey, hold on a sec, guys. Huh? What do you think this is? Attached to the wall is a small panel that read emergency. Right below it was a keypad of sorts with 10 buttons labeled from 0 to 9. Okay, got it, Yuri. 107215, right? Are you there alone there? Yeah, but when I tried using empathy on everybody, I heard such horrid thoughts coming from them. I'm scared. Okay, Yuri, I'll be right there, so wait for me. After telling her that, Natsuko got up. Actually, I'm not sure how I don't actually know if I trust her. Now that I think about it a little bit more. Just a very, very specific amount of information and everything. I mean, yeah, she can use empathy, but... Thinking. I don't know what I'm thinking, but, deliberations. Ow. What's wrong? I've gotta go. Natsuko withstood the pain in his entire body and started to rise to his feet. Hey, hold up. Where do you think you're going? You're severely wounded, you know. The transfusion's not even done yet. And Tachibana and others could be lurking out there. It's too dangerous to leave this room. Watasa was right. Natsuko was indeed severely wounded. He could very well use the... It's like, why can't I read properly? He could very well use up the rest of his strength trying to look for Yuri. Guess that leaves me with no choice. With that thought in mind, Natsuko looked Watasa squarely in the eye. Oh, they're telling the truth about something at least. In that case, Captain Kasagi, can you bring me to where Yuri is? You know her? Yeah, she's a precious friend of mine. I see. I'd love to bring you to her, but I don't know where she... Aw. Sagi looks genuinely like sad that there's no... Aw. There's a secret shelter in Area 5's outer ring on B1. If you can't find her, that might be where she is. Shelter? How would you know about something like that? Well, only Labo staff members know about it. Did you happen to find a place in the Area 5 hallway that had a numeric keypad? Yeah, now that you mention it. That was the shelter entrance. Yuri and I are both children of Labo staff members, you see. So we heard about it from our parents. Okay, so he's not coming clean about anything at all right now. That's... strike two, Natsuko. How many strikes are you gonna get by just not telling him the truth from the start and the outset? This is not helping you, man. This is not helping you at all. Oh well. Guess we'll see. I guess we're building up points of drama, escalation in the future. Yuri had told Watasa that she was a relative of a Labo staff member. So Natsuko thought that Watasa would buy that half-truth, but... Wait a sec. I'm confused about a few things here. Huh? How'd you even know Yuri was here in Labo in the first place? Alright. Yeah, Watasa is a pretty smart guy. Yuri disappeared before I found you at cold, you know. Did you guys meet up somewhere before you passed out in Area N? That's the one thing I can't tell you for now, but please believe me. Why can't you tell... it's gonna be worse if you don't tell him now. Natsuko. Come on. God, fine, he's just 16-year-old dumbass. Fine. Fine, whatever. But still, yeah, it's not helpful. I understand why you doubt me. But there's one thing I can say for sure. You and I share the same desire to save Yuri. I mean, that's true, so please. Natsuko bowed his head down and pleaded to Watase. Watase hesitated for a while, but he eventually nodded meekly. Okay, I'll believe in you. With that affirmation, Watase carried Natsuko on his back, and as he held the blood transfusion kit underneath his arm, they left the room. This shelter or whatever is in kind of a hard place to get to. The staircases are collapsed all over the place, you see. So we'll take a detour through Area 1. Kind of a roundabout way, but you okay with that? Yeah, I'm counting on you. Alright, hang on tight. Watase walked on with Natsuko on his back. And as Watase carried him, Natsuko sent telepathy to Yuri. You really should communicate with Watase fully and transparently. This situation is a bit too... like, there's too many unknowns for you to add additional potential points of doubt and confusion and mistrust is really, really, really bad. It's really bad. It's a really bad idea. Yuri, can you hear me? And answer soon came back. I hear you, Hikarin. Watase are headed your way. Huh? Captain Kasagi is with you too. Don't worry, Watase is our ally now. Our ally? Natsuko could feel Yuri's surprise and bewilderment. So she really was being extremely cautious about Watase then. I don't really understand what kind of person Watase is either. I think he probably was a human filled with malice originally. Yeah. But now that Watase's lost his memories, he's become a harmless being. At least not harmless. He's peaceful. There's a difference. Harmless is incapable of inflicting harm. Peaceful is one who can, but chooses not to. And like, I mean, you not coming clean that you are the reason he lost his memories is also not good. That's true. He saved me several times too, after all. Wait, so... Wait. Okay. Oh, what? That... Alright. So is she physically there or not? So... Alright, but just... what is Yuri is the most confusing thing right now. But why did he lose his memory? Do you have any idea, Hikarin? Tell her the fucking truth, dude. Tell her the fucking truth, you have to. This is, like, keeping it a secret isn't gonna help. Keeping it a secret is going to cause problems, mark my fucking words on that. You might not believe this, but it's because I erased his memory. Okay, he's coming clean. Good. Congratulations, at least. We have one thing. It's a really bad thing you did there, that's a crime. And after that, I've even been sharing his senses, seeing his actions through his eyes. I guess I've got that sort of ability now, apparently. Hikarin, you mean you're a criminal now? You committed mind crimes? You've completely mastered the third ability. Yeah, it's a really dangerous thing. Wait, what? Hearing that phrase took Natsuko by surprise. You know about the existence of the third ability too? Yeah, that explains a lot then. I didn't even consider that possibility, but I guess I should have expected you could do it. Yuri spoke as if she were talking to herself. She seemed to know a lot more than Natsuko did. Yeah, I think she knows kind of everything. I thought she knew everything from the start. I didn't say... Well, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I'm not gonna... I shouldn't gaslight my own self. That would be very bad. But yeah, it's been keeping... Let's save the details for when we can talk face to face. We're almost there. Okay, I'll be waiting. I'm not trusting her now. For some reason I feel like my gut is telling me that this isn't... that there's... something's not right with that. With Yuri being... like... with just Yuri. I don't trust any of this. The closer we get to this, the less I trust any of it. I don't know why, it's just the feeling I have. And thus, their communication ended. And Natsuko entrusted himself to Watase's back. Watase walked through the darkness of Area 5, struggling with his raging headache. Though he didn't let it show, he was suspicious about this whole situation. Oh shit. I'm suspicious and I know basically more than anyone else here, and I still don't know so many things. It was due to the boy he was carrying. He was still uncertain if what Natsuko Tenkawa had told him was the truth. It is not. That's a good instinct on him. Is Yuri really alive? Who the fuck knows at this point? Of course, if that were true, then it could definitely be a cause for celebration. But how did Natsuko know that? Wasn't he unconscious in Area N the whole time? Could this boy be hiding something? Yes, he is. Like, this is... Keeping secrets in situations where you need to trust each other absolutely is really, 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 really counterproductive. Like, really fucking counterproductive. Is it really okay to take him to where Yuri is? Maybe. I think that the answer to that is yes. When that thought hit Watase, he tried to shake it out of his head. Crap, I'm starting to jump at shadows again. I know that no one trusts me, but that's exactly why, at the very least, should trust others. He doesn't really have a choice. Natsuko saved my life, and to begin with, I'm a rescue worker. I came to this place to save people. I'm not here for the sake of doubting them. Watase scolded himself as he walked. It wasn't long before he saw the keypad built into the wall from before. Is this it? Yeah, please input the password. The wall should open up if you press 107215. Watase input those numbers as he kept carrying Natsuhiko. And when he did, open up, the wall opened, revealing a narrow passage. At the other end of the passage was a sturdy-looking iron door. It really opened. Please go in. Yuri should be right through that door. Right. Watase walked up to the iron door. He timidly opened it. Behind it was a room about 16 square meters in size. It was too dark to see anything clearly inside, but he could hear grunting coming from a corner of the room. What? Okay, so that's Yuri tied up. Whatnot? What? Watase gasped and turned to that direction to see... Yuri? Like, who tied her? Because you don't keep someone tied up for long periods of time like this. What happened here? It's a good question. Yuri was lying on the floor. Her hands and feet were bound, and her mouth was gagged. Please just untie her for now. Yeah. Watase lowered Natsuko to the floor and rushed over to Yuri. He then untied her bonds. Alright, that should do it. You okay, Yuri? Yes, thank you. Who did it? Who put you in this situation? Once she said that, her eyes suddenly welled up with tears. What's wrong? Does it hurt somewhere? No, that's not it. Yuri looked at Natsuko. He lifted his body up from the floor. Yuri. Hikarin. Aww. In a quivering voice, Yuri called out what seemed to be a nickname for Natsuhiko. I'm so glad to finally see you again. It's been 9 years, apparently, or something like that. And she jumped at him. Ow. Alright. I'm sorry. Hugs are nice, but this time it's painful. Yuri panicked and loosened the grip on her arms. Natsuko's eyes welled up with tears of pain, but he smiled nonetheless. No, it's okay. It kinda isn't, but fine, emotions. All that matters is that you're okay. Well, we'll see how okay she is. I'm fine, but what about you, Hikarin? I got shot 4 times. It hurts like hell, but I'll manage. Captain Kasagi and Miss Tachibana patched me up. I see, but still, thank goodness. Watase watched the reunion with a wry smile. Looks like he really is Yuri's friend. No, the two of them perhaps looked more like lovers than friends from the way they were acting. I'm really glad that you're okay. I guess this is what they call a touching reunion? You could say that. Yes. Thanks to you. Watase gave them a smile, but soon looked serious again. Sorry, but we don't have time to celebrate. Eh? What happened to you? Who tied you up? There we go. Yuri answered Watase's question in a frightened voice. Alright, who was it? It was Mr. Lukita. Okay. Okay. Okay, so one of the crazy people. Okay, that doesn't really happen. That's not a very interesting revelation. But okay. No. When? How long ago that happened? The old man? Why would Mr. Lukita do something like that? When did he do it? That's the important bit. Well, it didn't look like he had sinister motives or anything. Eh? It looked like he just wanted to keep me protected somewhere safe, after having seen that dead girl left by the lift. He tied me up so that I couldn't run off on my own. I see, but it looks like he still did it against your will, no shit. And that also means the old man knew about this secret room the whole time, yet he kept his mouth shut about it. Oh yeah. His actions are just way too suspicious. It's practically the definition of acting behind someone's back. I mean, literally, we never even got a glimpse that he was doing something like this. I mean, I have no reason to doubt her that he did it. Question is, when exactly? Is this right after they saw the dead body or what? Just what in the world was he after? What does it then suddenly remember the time Yuri went missing? Now that I think about it, the old man started really hounding on me right after Yuri disappeared, even though he was the one who actually hid Yuri here. So does that mean the old man was trying to frame me? Okay, so I was before he went. Okay. 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 Questions keep piling up. I'm not getting answers. One answer leads to more questions now. Okay, so he tied her up before he went crazy and whatnot. So what is the thing that he's trying to... I don't even know what kind of question I'm trying to form now. Anyway, so Kita really was Watasa's enemy. Maybe. Regardless, he'll pay for laying a hand on Yuri. I mean, sure, out of the things he's done so far, trying to kill you is a bit worse than just tying up some kid. I have to keep these kids safe, no matter the cost. Watasa looked at Natsuko and Yuri, then reaffirmed his decision. And at the same time, Natsuko made a new decision of his own. I'm happy to see Yuri again, but there are some things I need clarified first. A few, some, you say. Some. I would like an entire, you know, a half-hour explanation going into detail on everything. Everything. I want extensive clarifications. If Mr. Kita's an enemy, then what about Professor Tsubakiyama? Now, we can get to that. That's another topic of half-hour explanations about what these two are. I want an extensive explanation on just Yuri right now. Everything. The fuck happened 9 years ago? What's been happening to her this whole time? There were several unnatural aspects to Enna's actions, especially how she wasn't opening her heart to them. Natsuko resolved himself and sent her telepathy. Professor, can you hear me? It's me, Natsuhiko Tenkawa. I'm still here in Labo. Where are you, Professor? He followed up with empathy, and immediately heard Enna's mental voice. Oh, Mr. Tenkawa. Was that Mr. Tenkawa's telepathy just now? I got through to Professor Bakiyama. Ooh, okay. He stops moving on. Stuff happening. Okay. Natsuko rejoiced in his mind as he made use of telepathy and empathy to try and hold a conversation with Enna. That's right, and I'm reading your mental voice with empathy. Hold on a sec. Nobody told me you could use empathy. A couple days ago he couldn't. Don't tell me you falsified your ability level. No, that's not at all. My ability has just been rapidly advancing these past few days. Way too fast. At that very moment, Natsuko clearly felt wariness from Enna. Professor, are you putting up your guard? When he tried using empathy... I'm not... Enna's mental voice was coated with noise. Professor, are you closing your heart again? Sorry. Alright, that's not enough for me to decipher anything. Please wait, Professor. Professor, goddammit. Goddammit, a woman of mysteries. Okay, so... that doesn't help anything now. Natsuko tried to speak to her, but he could no longer hear Enna's mental voice. Damn it, Professor Beckham really does have a wall around her heart. More secrets. I need to know things as well. Is there nobody we can trust? You can trust Luis, you can trust Mashiro, and you can trust the crazy people to be crazy, I suppose. You can trust Watasa to be reliable until you give him his memories back. Then there's going to be a clash within him to determine who is the dominant personality. I don't know if you can trust Yuri on anything. She needs to answer things right now. We need answers from Yuri right now. Considering how her heart was closed, perhaps it would be too dangerous to blindly trust her. Guess I've got no choice. Let's not count on Professor Tsubakiyama for now. That's probably gonna end up being a wrong decision. Anyway, let's get back to the most important thing that we can figure out right now in full. Yuri. She's right here in the room. Come on, ask her questions. Who else could we trust? None of us suspect, and Kazumi and Jun and Nikita were completely out of the question. It's gotta be Luis then. Natsuko focused his mind and she sent telepathy to Luis. Luis, can you hear me? Answer me if you can. But when he tried to use empathy, there was no response from Luis. She was either out of Natsuko's empathy range, or don't tell me she's been knocked out this whole time after falling from the staircase. He didn't think Kazumi would attack her, but he felt Luis would be in danger if she were still unconscious. I gotta get to Luis quick. The moment that thought crossed his mind, he suddenly heard a voice echo in his head. Natsuika. It sounded like telepathy coming from Mashiro. Oh, she's waking up. But she was supposed to have escaped. Mashiro, why am I getting telepathy from you? Didn't you escape? There was no escape. There was never any escape for anybody. Response? Or am I hearing things? You're not just hearing things. It's me. I'm using telepathy. Hang in there, Mashiro. What happened? I'm sorry. My head's all hazy. You see, I still haven't actually escaped from lab. Of course she hasn't. Why not? Weren't you able to escape through the cargo lift? Well, the lift did get to the surface level, but there was a wall or something blocking the way right outside the lift, so I couldn't get out. Of course not. There has never been any escape from this facility. Natsuko's eyes widened at those words. Apparently, there was a bulkhead blocking the lift in the same way there were ones blocking the hallways past the emergency staircases. Well, of course there was. Was there never an escape route to begin with? No. No, there wasn't. But that's the same place we escaped through 9 years ago. Yes, and that's why you can't escape from it now. Because they learned their lesson. Security apparently grew stricter since that incident. Well, it would have to. It would be irresponsible if it didn't. But the most worrying thing was that the cargo lift couldn't go down to the basement from the surface on its own. So that meant she'd been in the lift the whole time, unable to escape outside or return to the basement. Okay, Mashiro, I'll come save you right now. How? Okay, I guess he still has the wiring in his pocket that he destroyed the thing with. He should come clean with that as well. He should, like, explain to us exactly what happened. And why he did the things that he did and everything. Like, it would really make his life easier if he went full transparency mode. Yeah, thank you. Mashiro's telepathy cut out there. Natsuko deeply regretted his shallow planning. What was spur of the moment? What plan? He called that plan? I guess he could. Even though he thought he had no other options, what he did still failed to get Mashiro out of there in the end. Even worse, it locked her up all alone for hours. That's probably for the best, honestly. That's not that bad of an idea. I need to save her as soon as possible. The part that Natsuko had ripped out of the cargo lift control panel was still inside his pocket. That part could perhaps be used to repair the lift, but could Natsuko even get there with his body in that condition? No, I still need to go. I'll leave Luis up to Watase and go save Mashiro myself. Splitting the party, good job. Yuri, I'm sorry, but wait for me here. Splitting the party 3 ways. I'm going to go save Mashiro. That's a terrible idea. Splitting the party 3 ways now, that's like, come on, even like, I don't think like, monster movie, protagonist dumbasses do that rapidly and quickly and horribly and stupidly. It's usually one person splits off from the rest of the party and gets killed, and then another and another. It's not like they all just separately just spread out like fucking. No, don't leave Yuri alone. Fuck's sake, work, move as a group. God damn it. What? Not just Yuri, but what else spoke up too? Exactly, the fuck. Look, Natsuko, I'm telling you, you can't be moving about on your own. You could open your wounds and die, you know? Yeah, also that. Also that. No, but fuck you, you're a kid. You're an idiot. Like, you've done nothing but cause problems the whole way through, honestly. Natsuko, you are not a smart kid right now. Or the whole time. Your decisions have not been productive or useful or helpful. Generally speaking, they've just caused more issues here. They're compounding the problems that Watase caused initially. Yes. But... oh boy, oh boy, boy. No buts. I know you're worried about your friends, but calm down and think straight for a second. Thank you, the voice of reason. If you want to search for that Mashiro girl, then I'll go in your stead. Watase spoke firmly, but what he said made sense. No shit. If Natsuko went to save Mashiro with his body in its current state, it could easily be double trouble. Double trouble. Double trouble. So in the end, he had no choice but to rely on Watase. Natsuko reluctantly asked him, "Okay then, Captain Kasagi, please rescue Mashiro." "Of course, but I still don't know where she is. We've searched every corner of the facility and haven't found her." Come on, Natsuko. If you're gonna give him the wire parts, you have to explain everything. Come on now. Then have you checked inside the cargo lift? They can't get inside, you broke it. You know this as well. Inside the cargo lift? Come clean. Come on, Natsuko. Don't leave out details here. Do not leave out details here. He's gonna make up a story and leave details out, isn't he? Again. He's gonna make things worse a couple of hours from now, when the truth is finally revealed. He's gonna make another stupid mistake. Okay, Natsuko tried his best to act casual in response to the dubious look Watase shot him with. God damn it, Natsuko. You're behaving like a fucking idiot right now. Mashiro and I got separated in the factory. God damn it, he's digging his own grave right now with all these lies and he's making up. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright, that's the game Natsuko's playing now. Alright, fair enough. Terrible idea. If she hasn't escaped, then it's highly possible she's inside the cargo lift. But coming in said that 3 high school students have yet to escape. If she escaped to the surface from the cargo lift, wouldn't the commander have her under their protection? Now, if you think about how the bulkhead is lowered above the emergency staircase, the same could be true for the cargo lift. Ah, I see. Now you mention it, you've got a point. Watase's eyes widened as that realization hit him. Natsuko nodded and continued. So even if Mashiro managed to get to the surface floors with the lift, a bulkhead could still stop her in her tracks. So it's possible that she's been left behind there this entire time. That would explain why we haven't been able to find her so far. I can't think of any other places to look either, so I think it's worth a shot. And then, as if he had felt a sense of hope, Watase spoke out in a cheerful voice. Alright, then I'll try to repair the cargo lift and bring it down here. Please do. Alright, this might come in handy. Conveniently the exact wiring from the cargo lift control panel. Okay, what kind of bullshit are you gonna spew this time, Natsuko? Okay, right. God damn it, Natsuko. Fucking idiot. Natsuko used that opportunity to bring the control panel part out of his pocket. Did you have that? How'd you get that? Come clean. Come clean. Come clean, you dumbass. With its torn cables and its up and down buttons. I found this on the floor by the lift. It's probably a part of the control panel. Okay, that's the simple lie. A part? I tried repairing the control panel with this, but I didn't have the skills to pull it off, so I put it in my pocket and forgot about it. But I thought you might be able to fix it. Got it. I'll use this to try and repair the lift. It's really gonna cause problems in the long run. Sure, it's a very believable lie, but a lie nonetheless. Like 3 or 4, or how many lies has he told so far? I've lost track. But then again, if I go, they'll leave the 2 of you completely defenseless. True. Go as a group. Go as a group. Go as a group. Don't split the party. Don't split the party. Don't split the party. Don't split the goddamn party. Natsuko looked around the room as he spoke. He soon noticed there was another keypad on the shelter inside of the iron door. Tapping the password into that keypad would probably open up the wall outside. Okay then, Captain Kasagi. Can you destroy the password keypad when you get outside? If you do that, then nobody can get into this room unless we open it from the inside. I see. That sounds like a plan. Okay, then I'll give you a signal when I'm back. So open it up for me on the inside, okay? Understood. Watase consented to Natsuko's plan and promptly exited the shelter. As Watase walked away, Yuri called out to him. Captain Kasagi, thanks for everything. Hey, come on, it's not over yet. I'll be back, so sit tight, you two. And with those parting words, Watase left the shelter. Natsuko heard Watase destroy the password keypad on the other side of the door. He then took a deep breath. Right after that, Yuri quietly spoke to him. Alright, these two are alone. We can hopefully get a extensive conversation out of them about and the reality and what the fuck happened here. Come on now. Come on now. I've taken a sip of water. I am ready for information. Give me fucking information. Give me all of it. All of it. Hikarin, Captain Kasagi really is our ally, eh? Yeah, Mashra should be safe now. Natsuko looked Yuri in the face as he spoke. But anyway, you really are Yuri, aren't you? He still couldn't believe she was alive. Yeah, me neither. But now that Watase was gone, he felt he had to make sure again. Stuttering a bit sometimes, apparently. Oh well, doesn't matter. She smiled and answered him. Yeah, it's me, Hikarin. Okay, explain. I'm not Phantom, nor an imposter. I'm the real Yuri Kotono. Okay. Explain stuff. Start explaining. Just saying that doesn't make it through. Her voice, her looks, her expression, and mannerism were all the same as the Yuri he knew. Yuri held his hand and continued. See, Hikarin, you can feel me, can't you? Okay, how about we get on to the explanation bit? What happened? What happened 9 years ago? What happened? Don't give me this touchy-feely stuff right now. That's not an answer. That's not making me trust you at all. That doesn't do shit for me. Yeah. A hallucination wouldn't have human warmth, right? But if it's information, it could just tell the neurons and stuff like that in the body that, hey, they have to react this way. And that there's a sensation here. Give me answers. Right. He could feel her warmth through her small hand. Doesn't matter. Give me answers. What happened 9 years? There's 9 years of history that we need to catch up on. And finally, Natsuhiko was convinced. She's real, sure. Physically real, but what? Like, hello? 9 years? Past? History? Hello? Are you gonna bring it up? Anything? Yuri's alive, sure, but although we do know that he's not very good at this whole critical thinking bit. Natsuhiko, you dumbass. Come on, we can have a perfect opportunity for answers. And with that thought in mind, Natsuko felt his whole face break out into a smile. But he couldn't stay happy for long. Natsuko vocalized the question that he could by no means ignore. Yes. I know it might be odd for me to ask this, but what the fuck happened 9 years ago? How are you still alive? What? Well, how are you alive? Yes, there we go. Come on now, how are you surprised by that question? Yuri's face froze as soon as that last word left Natsuhiko's lips. It's a totally legitimate question. Like, don't give me the pouty face. The memories he recalled just a few hours ago when he found those documents in his mother's office. They were so fresh in his mind and seemed to be the true reality. And it wasn't just his memory. According to Mashiro's memory, Yuri had died 9 years ago as well. Natsuko couldn't think of a way to reconcile that contradictions. I thought you died here 9 years ago. What's the deal with that? Yes. That's... We're alone, there's no interruptions, no one can get in. Answer. After a moment of severe hesitation, Yuri quietly answered. Actually, that was a lie fabricated by Labo. Okay, why? 9 years ago, Labo announced to the world that Yuri Kotono died as a result of the Labo fire. They lied to you and Mashron and my parents, the school, and the media too. Wait, why would they do that? Because they're doing psychic research and perfect opportunity to get a test subject. That's because this facility's been founded upon countless such lies, you see. Oh, I mean, yeah, that's true. Like, the whole world believes this is a nuclear research facility. Even most of the staff believe that to be true, or at least some of the staff. A facility coated with lies everywhere. That's what Labo is. Natsuko was puzzled by her words. You shouldn't be. Like, come on now. That's the easiest thing to believe here. A facility coated with lies. What do you mean? We've been through this. I'll start with the biggest lie. You may have already realized this, but this isn't even a nuclear power research facility to begin with. It's a BC research facility. Yeah, the biggest one. I knew it. Well, yeah. Everything proved that. Natsuko had already guessed that. Yeah, we knew that for a fact, like so long ago. But that affirmation only raised more questions. The entire city believes that Labo is a nuclear research facility, right? So why would they make that lie? To do, you know, amoral and unethical research? Duh, obviously. Because it's more convenient that everyone thinks that way. If they have the excuse that they're dealing with a nuclear reactor, they can just do basically anything. Nobody would question why their security is so strict, or why they're so strangely thorough with their information management, would they? True, I never questioned it either. So in other words, it was all a front, to hide what Labo was doing behind the scenes. So that's it. It would only be obvious for a nuclear power research facility to be secretive about its research. So using that false identity as a front would indeed be suitable for hiding something, anything, literally anything. However, but in that case, what exactly is Labo hiding? They are creating psychic gods. That's what they're doing. Natsuko posed that question out to Yuri. Does this facility really have a secret they'd need to go to such lengths to hide? The reason they falsified your death has something to do with it too, doesn't it? Well, obviously. And she's been sort of going along with it for these past 9 years as well. That's also a thing to keep in mind. And like, she's, you know, talking to you. She's moving about, really, more or less. Yes. Please, Yuri, tell me, what happened 9 years ago? What happened to you after that fire? What have you been doing? And where have you been all this time? She's been here this whole time. But yeah, what has been happening? Answer. Don't give me that. Is it something you can't tell me? You have to tell us, Yuri. You can't just not answer. We're way too far gone to not have answers. No, not at all, but it's too hard to explain in just a few words. That's fine, we have infinite time here. If it takes an hour for you to explain it, I'll be here for an hour, and I will listen to it and read it out myself as well. We have the time. We have the time. Huh? It'll take a long time to tell you everything, and I'm not confident I can put it into words, so... Just try, start from the very beginning. Just start from one point. 9 years ago, there was a fire. You got hurt. Then what happened? Just recount it word by word. Like event by event. Simple as that. We'll be here forever if we have to. Yuri grasped Natsuko's hand and continued. Dive into my mind and see it with your own eyes. Oh yeah, that thing. Oh, they can do that too. Perfect. Perfect. Right. Yes, perfect. Yeah, you got the third ability. Come on now. You can dive into people's memories by now, right? So if you use that ability to see memories, you'll understand everything. That works too. That's even better explanation way to convey this information. But won't it take a long time to go through 9 whole years of memories? Not necessarily. It'll be fine. When you watch people's memories, almost no time passes at all in the real world. The brain processes information super fucking fast. Now that she mentioned, when he saw Masharo's memories, he looked through them fairly leisurely compared to how little time actually passed. In that case, it certainly would be faster to watch Yuri's memories firsthand rather than talk about it. Besides, Natsuko himself wanted to know the detailed truth as soon as possible. Yes! That's one thing we absolutely share, me and Natsuko. I want to know the detailed truth. In full. Are you sure, Yuri? Are you really okay with me peeking into your mind? If it's you, then yes. Okay. I'm sure it'll be an uncomfortable truth, and you might start hating me for it. Oh, that's not gonna be true. That's false. He's not gonna be able to hate you. I don't think I'll be able to hate you. That's all. But I want you to know everything that I've experienced. Yuri softly shut her eyes. Her hands trembled slightly. Natsuko didn't get why she was so afraid. Well, he didn't understand what she meant by "you might start hating me for it." But he steeled himself. I'm giddy with excitement to find the truth. Come on now. He swore that no matter what he learned, he would not let it agitate him. But we know that memories can be falsified and made up whole cloth now. Can we actually trust anything? Is it possible for us to trust anything that this game tells us now? Like, is it? I don't know. But fucking we just dive in. Okay, I'm ready now. So am I. Yeah. Go ahead. Natsuko grasped her hand tightly and focused his mind. Just then, his sight was engulfed in darkness. It was the same phenomenon that happened when he had dived into Mashiro's mind. Countless visions floated in the darkness. These are Yuri's memories. These were the memories of various scenes she had experienced in the past. Natsuko gently peeked into the oldest memory. Yeah, let's go. A case N has just been detected. In accordance with this emergency, security has shifted to blockade mode, locking down all gates and bulkheads. What do we do, Hikari? I'm scared. Don't cry, Yuri, I'll do something. Natsuko found himself standing in the midst of fire. Is this 9 years ago? Yes, obviously. It was the day Yuri and Natsuko had sneaked into the labo. Natsuko was watching the memory of when they were trapped in a fire, but through Yuri's eyes. They fled into a nearby room as the fires drew close, but the smoke and the heat had sapped Yuri's body of its energy. Natsuko looked at her with tears welling in his eyes. I'm sorry, Yuri. It's all because I took you with me. I tried to act cool and say I'd save Mom, but I couldn't, and now I got you trapped in this mess. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It wrenched Yuri's heart to hear those words, so she gently wiped away his tears. It's okay, Hikari. It's because you're always trying your hardest for everyone else. I love that about you. Loved. Why the past tense, so I'm glad that you stayed with me until the end. Yuri. Natsuko embraced Yuri. Hugs. Hugs were nice, but she could no longer feel his touch, nor the numbness of her own body. As her consciousness faded, only one thing remained in Yuri's mind. Please, God, I don't care what happens to me, but if you can save at least one of us, please save not Hikarin. And as if in response to her prayer, what? Yuri heard a voice beside her ear. Someone come save us. Oh, right, it's his. Oh, right, never mind. It's him. We're in Dr. Tenkawa's room. No, it wasn't beside her ear. It sounded like it was echoing directly inside her head. Telepathy? Hikarin used telepathy? But even that thought of hers began to disappear, and then she's unconscious. As her sight and hearing faded, Yuri heard another voice. Natsuko. Ah, Yuri too. Mom, thank goodness you're safe. I came here to save you. Let's take Yuri and get out of here. And right after she barely managed to hear the professor yelling, Yuri lost consciousness. Alright. And after who knew how long? Yuri. Yuri woke up at the sound of her name. When she opened her eyes, she saw Dr. Tenkawa. So, right, so I guess Natsuko's mom knew the whole time that she was alive. Right. Fuck me, that's correct. Oh my fucking god. Okay, so... Okay. Oh dear. Alright, that's okay, that's kind of messed up now, actually. Right, of course Natsuko's mom knew that Yuri was alive the whole fucking time. Oh man, okay, wow, okay, this is, oh jeez. Okay, this is, I don't even know, okay. Thank goodness you're awake. Huh? What happened to me? You don't remember? After you got caught in the fire in Labo, you were asleep for an entire day. Yuri looked around. She appeared to be in a hospital room, but Natsuko was nowhere to be seen. Oh, what are they gonna do there? Merci, Karin. But without answering Yuri's question, the professor asked her a question of her own. By the way, Yuri, I'm sorry for asking this right after you woke up, but can I get you to take a little test with me? Oh dear, oh jeez. Test. Oh. We need to make sure your body hasn't developed any problems. Oh, that's a lie. You're just lying to her. You two were bombarded with hazardous particles, you see. Yuri didn't know what hazardous particles were, and her head felt a little groggy, but she answered obediently nonetheless. Right, that's the things that amplified their, psychic powers. That's how Natsuko went from being like a rank C to a rank S. Something similar to Yuri as well. Okay. Afterwards, Yuri underwent various tests. They took blood and urine samples and put her inside a giant machine to take pictures of what was inside her head. At first, Dr. Takawa seemed the same as usual, but as the test progressed, the look on her face froze over. Yuri's IGF-2R is type S. Dr. Tenkawa perused the test results on a PDA as she spoke with someone who appeared to be an assistant. That's impossible. Are you sure there's no mistake? Nothing is impossible. We've redone the test several times, and it's turned out type S each time. No, it couldn't be. Why not? It's right there. It is. You're a scientist. You accept facts and reality as it is presented to you. The professor turned to Yuri with a serious look on her face and asked her a question. Yuri, what was your BC up to? They've measured you in school, right? It's C. As the professor sunk into silence, her assistant whispered into her ear. It's exactly as she says. All of her past examination results have recorded her IGF-2R gene as type C. Hold it right there. You mean to say her gene mutated? That's what bombardment, particles can do. Similar to radiation. It is just psychic radiation, this. WX particles. Even the look on the assistant's face changed when she said that last word. Yuri, can you try using telepathy for me? Huh? But I haven't been able to use telepathy yet. That's what I thought, but please, try. Focus on something you want to tell me. Anything. It was hard to think of something on the spot like that, but Yuri did as she was told. Oh, jeez, dear. I've never used telepathy before, but... let's see. Does it look like Hikarin will be okay? She heard. The professor audibly gasped. And at the same time, Yuri felt something strange as well. It felt completely different from all the times she had tried and failed to use telepathy before. It was almost like the thought she had weaved inside her head she had spewed out. Yuri, you're worried about Natsuko, aren't you? Yeah. The professor responded to Yuri's question. The question she only thought of inside her head. Okay then, now I'll think of the answer to your question inside my head. Use BC to try and read that answer. But isn't that empathy? Please, just try it. But why? I can't pull that off. Mashran said hardly any kids out there can use empathy. But even so, Yuri focused hard trying to read the professor's mind. And soon enough, Yuri heard a voice echoing inside her head. Okay, Natsuko's sleeping in another hospital room. There's no need to worry. Okay, so she's not lying about that. Okay, for a moment I thought she was gonna tell Natsuko that Yuri died and then tell Yuri that Natsuko died or something like that. Okay, it seems like that's not the case. Well, at least not yet. That might become the case though. This time Yuri was surprised for sure. The professor hadn't moved her mouth at all, and yet Yuri heard her voice. Her mental voice. Yuri relayed what she heard from that voice back to the professor. Hikarin's sleeping. That's right. That's exactly right. The assistant spoke up mere moments after the professor had just barely managed to wring those words out. Professor, could this be? It's hard to believe, but it appears she's rapidly begun to demonstrate use of both telepathy and empathy. There's no room for doubt here. She's an acquired rank S aptitude communicator. But how did this happen? During the accident, the WX particle energy in Area 5 reached a maximum of 9500 MSV, which damaged her gene and caused it to reconstruct itself to best suit its environment. But I never expected a theoretical phenomenon like that to be realized in such a fashion. Yeah, children's bodies are very malleable. They can be molded very, very easily. That's why all sci-fi properties generally use kids as their, the framework for their super soldiers things. You know, you got your, and just not even sci-fi, just other like the Witcher series. You know, you take kids, break down their bodies, reconstruct them in the Warhammer 4K. You take kids and make them into superhuman monsters, giants. No, well, those might be monsters though. There's a difference though. Like some of them kind of brainwashed. They become brainwashed entities. It's a bit. Well, anyway, I'm just spewing the words right now. Then you mean the same phenomenon happened to the boy that was with her? I cannot rule out that possibility. The professor looked at Yuri and spoke in a low voice. I'm sorry, Yuri, but please wait in this room for a little while. I need to go do some tests with Natsuko too. Was something wrong? No, it's a breakthrough in science. Normally I'd say these were good results, but oh, why? Anyway, I'll be back soon. Why are they bad results? Why is that worrisome? And with that, Dr. Tenkawa and her assistant left the room. Okay. Left all alone, Yuri suddenly felt scared. Even an easygoing person like her could tell that things were about to get out of hand somehow. Okay. Several hours later, Yuri was waiting patiently in the hospital room. But Dr. Tenkawa still hadn't come back, leaving Yuri in the dark as to Natsuhiko's condition. As she waited in the silence, she eventually heard a commotion outside the hospital room. It was the sound of many footsteps. People were swiftly approaching her hospital room. What? The footsteps were rough and violent, which scared Yuri a little. The patient in this room? Yeah. The hospital directors come to an agreement. There are no other patients in this ward. Please proceed freely. Whispers could be heard from in the front of the room. Just then, a pitter-patter of rushing footsteps added to the cacophony. Suddenly, a new voice yelled out. Hey, what do you people think you're doing? Oh, okay, so she's not in on it. It was Dr. Tenkawa's voice. Okay. Yuri felt a little relieved, but she was still scared. She didn't want to go check out the situation outside for herself. Mr. Eguchi, what is the meaning of this? What pushed you to mobilize Security Sector 6? SS6. Anyway, Eguchi, that's one of the authors of one of the books in the reference room that we heard. Don't remember what that was about, but yeah. Orders from above. Of course they are. Of course they are. Hello. Orders from above, as always. SS6. Sure. Right. Orders from above, that's always the excuse. Yeah. Effective today, henceforth, Yuri Kotono has been registered as Labo's 4th test subject. What? This must be some sort of joke. She's a friend of my son. That's a statement unbefitting of senior fellow Miyoko Tenkawa, the very brains of Labo. The girl is a rank excommunicator, an extreme rarity across the globe. And you're well aware of just how dangerous such a being is, You plan to make my own son into a test subject too, don't you? But of course. We cannot allow our emotions as individuals to take precedence over reason and simply leave these beings to their own devices. They're just people, It's okay. They're just people, god damn it. Bastards. Again with this, like, us versus them. See, it just constantly just, this pointless fucking division and crap like that, just... Don't give me that garbage. Yes, thank you, it's complete bullshit. Ignoring what just happened the other day, Labo's ethics are clearly lacking as of late. If this continues, I'll have to file a report to the ESP Bureau, you know? Okay. You are aware that you can't do that, correct? Not if you consider your son's safety. A heavy silence fell upon them. Eventually, Dr. Tenkawa muttered in a stifled voice. Yuri's still in no condition to move due to the after effects of the fire. I feel that transporting her to Labo will be too great of a burden on her body. Mr. Engochi, go home today and take your Security 6 Sector people with you. Well, fine. We'll let you save face for today, Dr. Tenkawa. I'll be back. And with those words, the sound of several footsteps faded into the distance. Once Yuri could no longer hear them, the hospital door opened and Dr. Tenkawa came in. Oops. Ah, Professor. Yuri. The professor smiled weakly as she walked on over to Yuri. Did you hear that conversation just now? Yeah, but there were so many things I didn't understand. Everything's gotten difficult. You could say that. Perhaps. The professor sighed deeply. Please tell me, yes. What happened to us? The professor remained silent for a while before speaking with a resigned tone of voice. Yuri, as a result of the accident, your genetic code mutated, as did Natsuhiko's. Genetic code? It's what dictates the composition of your body, like a blueprint, so to speak. One of the genes in your genetic code, the IGF2R gene, a gene that relates to BC usage, was damaged and reconstructed due to the particles that were spreading inside the facility. Your BC aptitude rose from rank C to rank S, despite how aptitude normally remains constant throughout one's lifetime. Yuri stared blankly. She didn't quite understand what the professor was saying. The professor then continued. Remember how we did a test to see if you could use BC this afternoon? Yes. You were able to use telepathy and empathy without any practice. Those results said it all. You became a world-class communicator. It's unprecedented. And yet it wasn't just you. Natsuko likewise mutated into rank S aptitude. His ability rose accordingly as well. Currently, only I can attest to his ability. But during the fire, Natsuko used telepathy, you see? Yes. But because of those results, Labo now has their eyes on you. Like, this is really... They're going to incinerate both you and Natsuko inside of Labo. What? Oh, incarcerate. Incinerate. I've read that completely wrong. Okay, I think I'm losing my mind. I think once we're done with this flashback, I'm gonna have to call it a day. Incarcerate? They're going to lock you up and make you into a test subject for BC research. Labo isn't actually a nuclear power research facility, but a BC research facility. Likewise, I don't conduct nuclear power research, but BC research. I'm a central personage of the organization. And yet, I never expected that my own son and his friend would have to be incarcerated. It wasn't as if Yuri understood everything the professor was saying, but she did understand some of it. When she and Natsuko were cornered by the fire in Labo, she felt as if she had heard Natsuko's telepathy. But it turns out she hadn't been hearing things after all. The two of them had been reborn as elite communicators. And as a result, they would have to live the rest of their lives locked away. Can you get them to stop it? I'm sorry. I know it must be hard to understand why, but there are reasons why I can't. Because it is indeed true that the abilities you two have gained are dangerous. Oh, dangerous if left unchecked and like, people generally tend to be good, but if you force their hand, they're gonna do things that... Dr. Takao answered painfully. But if there were no other way, then... Professor... Oh, Yuri's making the proposition. Huh? Do they need to lock both of us up? Aw, Yuri really is just a good girl like that. What do you mean? Yuri... Aw... Okay, all my doubts are gone now about that. Yuri. She's a good kid. Aw. She's basically sacrificing herself for Natsuhiko and stuff. Yuri stated her own thoughts as the professor looked on, confused. If I go to Labo willingly, can they let Hikorin stay free in return? That might be possible. Fortunately, Natsuko hasn't awakened yet. As long as he's still unaware of the circumstances, then maybe. But are you sure, Yuri? Okay, so it was her decision. I'm sure. Damn, that's a very heavy decision to make at 9 years of age. Bloody hell. Because he couldn't save me. So now it's my turn. I guess that's simple kid logic, yeah. That was the moment Yuri decided her own fate. 2 days later, when Yuri was transferred to Labo, Dr. Tenkawa informed her of the news. I've told Natsuko that you died in the fire. I see. From now on, Natsuko will be placed under surveillance by both Labo and government agencies as a special observation target. Okay, so that's that. That's that piece of the line of the document. that we saw. You shall be incarcerated in Labo, and Natsuko shall live within society. By comparing how you two communicators develop, we can gain valuable data. I somehow managed to convince the higher-ups using that pretext. But one condition they have is that once Natsuko surpasses a certain ability level, he will immediately be transferred here. That would be a desirable result for Yuri, but Hikari loves it outside. Because he's got lots of friends, so it'd be so sad if he got locked up inside. The professor spoke to Yuri as she had that thought. Yuri, if you want, maybe we really should keep Natsuko with you. No, it's okay. Is it though? Yuri smiled at the professor. But instead, can I ask for just one thing? What is it? Please let me see him, even just once in a while. Even just once a year. Please. That's all I ask. I promise. Will she keep that promise? The professor's words softly shook the surrounding air. That memory left Natsuko at a loss for words. Hey, what the hell is this? Yeah. It was a truth far beyond his expectations. Mine too, actually. That's a bombshell. Labo tried to incarcerate us as test subjects. Yeah, that one makes no sense. Not just Yuri, but me too, obviously. And Yuri sacrificed her freedom for my sake. Even though his own senses were supposed to have faded away, he could have sworn he felt his heart pounding like an alarm bell. Then, what happened to Yuri afterwards? She got locked up. As that thought crossed Natsuko's mind, more and more visions floated before his eyes. Yuri's life turned upside down after that. Labo became her new residence, and her lifestyle now revolved around experiments. In one of Labo's laboratories, the professor gazed at Yuri and spoke. Ready, Yuri. We need you to undergo training from now on to develop your BC ability. She knew this whole time, for all these 9 years, Miyoko knew all this. Just kept it complete. There's some complete darkness. But yeah. Well, yeah, no wonder the family unit didn't function. It's built upon complete lies. That's some heavy stuff there. Jeez. Okay. You already learned telepathy and empathy, so I want you to acquire the next ability. Next ability? You mean there's another ability besides telepathy and empathy? Yes, and there's more than that as well. It's been kept secret from the general public, you see. But there is a third ability that allows one to connect minds rather than just brains. There's probably abilities beyond that too, because, it's an evolving thing. And the name of that ability is Senses Sympathy. A miraculous power that only appears in rank S aptitude communicators. Can I do something as amazing as that? No need to be so nervous. You're not the only Type S communicator in the world, after all. And the Senses Sympathy ability itself was discovered many years ago. Data have already been collected on communicator usage of the ability, and we've even compiled a training manual. Okay, since it's genetic and it can be basically random, it should effectively be impossible to keep this a secret, because someone with that ability could just prop up anywhere in the world, be part of some research, or just go public with that. And there's only so many times you can, hush that kind of revelations, stuff like that, before it just becomes part of public knowledge. Seriously, that sounds like complete bull. So if you keep practicing in accordance with that manual, you're guaranteed to learn how to use it. I'll try my best. And thus the training began. To prepare, they first began with a lecture about the relationship between BC particles and the brain. Senses Sympathy is the ultimate form of BC. But to understand how it works, first you need to learn about what are known as BC particles. BC particles? They're these elementary particles, tiny specks invisible to the eye, that transmit the thought information of living creatures, or basically their mind activity. Invisible specks, mind activity. Take a look at this monitor for me. I'll explain using this diagram. The professor operated her computer as she spoke, upon which the monitor began to display a diagram explaining the relationship between BC particles and the human mind. This thing again. You see, every corner of the world is filled with BC particles. They're in your head and mind, as well as in the space between us and beyond. There are actually many subtypes of these particles too. Normally the only ones that exist are wanderer particles, or W particles for short. These particles contain no information whatsoever. But when they come in contact with the human brain, they become loaded with the information energy fired off due to brain activity, transforming them into M particles. The M stands for mind, as the mind's information is written on these mind particles. All these types of particles relate to BC and are thus generally referred to as BC particles. Incidentally, there are other types of BC particles such as WX particles and B particles, but they don't relate to today's explanation, so we'll skip them for now. Okay. You see, normally M particles can't leave the human brain. But when communicators use BC, the M particle energy in their brains increases. They use the surrounding W particles in concert, transforming them into M particles. This process propagates all the way to the target. This is the precise mechanism behind BC ability activation. The professor's lecture was more detailed than what high school students learned in school, but naturally Yuri didn't understand. Professor, I'm sorry. All these M and W things, it's too hard to keep track of them all. Oh, my apologies. I'll try to explain with simple terminology then. For our purposes, there should be no fundamental problems with simply referring to all of these particles as BC particles. That seems easier to understand. That's good. Then next I'll explain the relationship between BC particles and BC abilities. For example, when you use telepathy, BC particles transmit from your mind to me. When you use empathy, it's the opposite. You receive BC particles transmitted from my mind. But sense sympathy is an ability that uses BC particles as an intermediary for continuous observation of the target's thought information in its entirety. The sights the target sees, the sounds the target hears, their thoughts. The Esper feels all of the target's sensory information. So they feel all of that person's mind activity then? That's correct. In other words, your brain maintains a perfect connection with someone else's via BC particles. That is, it's akin to linking two computers through a LAN connection, local area network. When that happens, your own senses vanish, and you observe the world through the target's senses instead. So it's like turning into a ghost and possessing someone? Kind of, actually, yeah. I don't believe in ghosts, but it probably feels like something close to that. Do your best until you can pull off that ability. I'll be here for you the entire time. Let's begin. Senses Sympathy Trial Experiment number 1. Phase 1. Act. She'll be with her for the next 9 years. And just as the professor had told her to, Yuri partook in the experiments that day. And the next day, and the next day, and the day after that. Okay, Yuri, let's try it one more time. Senses Sympathy Trial Experiment 1026. Phase 1. Act. Okay, here I go. Yuri focused with all her mind, and tried to connect it to the professor in front of her. And at that moment, she can see herself there. Her vision swayed, and in an instant, what she saw completely changed. She was looking at herself through the professor's point of view. Professor, I did it! Huh? I saw myself. That means it worked, right? Huh? The professor's eyes widened, but her surprise soon changed into a smile. That's amazing, Yuri. I can't believe you've gotten this far in just a month. Is that good? It's better than good. You're a genius. Oh, that's genuine excitement of her. Yay. They're still doing something super, messed up with the whole secrecy and stuff. But, the professor hugged Yuri. Wrapped in the warmth of those arms, Yuri smiled in relief. The professor was always kind to Yuri and spent much time with her, both in and out of experiments. So that's why she's been spending so much time at this lab. She basically has 2 families, well, 2 kids to try and take care of. And perhaps as a result, Yuri gradually eased into her new life. After that success, the experiments continued further. The senses sympathy ability you acquired yesterday is BC in its true form. The truth is that both telepathy and empathy are but mere immature forms of that ability. Senses sympathy uses BC particles as an intermediary to place the target's mind completely under the surveillance of the Esper. Allow me to explain exactly how the underlying mechanism works. The professor operated the computer as she spoke, upon which the monitor displayed the same diagram she previously used to explain the mechanism of BC. All information involved in brain activity undergoes constant mutual interaction with the intracerebral BC particles. That is, the ones inside the brain. All thoughts and information perceived through the senses are copied onto the intracerebral BC particles. Intracerebral. Blech. Words, complex words. Conversely, the information on the intracerebral BC particles has a constant effect on the brain. This is the relationship between the brain and the intracerebral BC particles. This relationship enables the user of the sense of sympathy ability to perceive all the information on the target's intracerebral BC particles. So it's like a power up empathy. That's roughly correct. Normal empathy is unusable if the target's heart isn't open up to the Esper, but that hurdle can be cleared. Noise heard during empathy is thought to be a self-defense mechanism provided by the brain. But complete sympathy of the senses apparently bypasses that defense. So you mean it allows you to read anyone's mind then? Indeed, but that's not the only distinction senses sympathy has from empathy. One key difference is that you aren't limited to simply perceiving the information the target is currently perceiving. But they can also go back and perceive their past memories as well. Their memories too. Indeed, memories are just another form of intracerebral information. By merely wishing to know the target's past, the Esper can see each and every one of the target's memories. Furthermore, the Esper can even transmit intracerebral information of their own to the target. The intense information energy released by the Esper propagates all the way to the target's intracerebral BC particles. And those BC particles in turn cause the target's brain to change accordingly, giving rise to false sensory information. Yeah, it's real bad. And it's not limited to auditory information. The Esper can create hallucinations in all the senses, including sight, smell, taste, and touch. So is that part like powered up telepathy? Correct, except the Esper isn't limited to just auditory hallucinations, but visual hallucinations among other things as well. Just creating straight up memories as well. And of course, the hallucinations aren't limited to just the current sensory information either. Yeah, it's real bad. That's really fucked up. This is literally like criminal activity that you're describing. It's possible to create hallucinations in the target's past memories as well. And that is the entirety of the ability known as sense of sympathy. Any questions? It's ripe for misuse. I see. I understand how it's an amazing ability. Yeah, that's amazingly dangerous as well. Potential. It's just an ability, it's how people use it. That's the problem, typically. Yes, it is quite a tremendous ability indeed. Yuri, do you realize just what unspeakable horrors are possible by combining these two aspects of this ability? There you go, at least she understands the simple things. Unspeakable horrors. Eh? By peeking into the target's memories and creating hallucinations within them, you're manipulating memories. Yeah, that's just straight up crime. You can replace original memories with new ones, or delete memories entirely. Yeah, Natsuko has done all that. Already. Is that possible? I can do that, yes you can. Yes, it's the most difficult technique that only those who have mastered all BC abilities can accomplish. Doesn't really need to be mastered, just has to have force of will. As far as I know, only 2 communicators in the entire world have successfully done it. But the ability indeed exists. BC is the ability to manipulate information, and the human brain is packed with information. Full mastery of the sense of sympathy would allow you to manipulate every single function of the human brain, which is really bad. Just like how Maxwell's demon manipulates information. The professor looked Yuri in the eye. Yuri, you're going to become a being beyond human. No, she's not. That's not how that works. She's still human, just with an extra ability. That's it. That's how this works. Don't give me this nonsense. Being beyond human? No, BS. Nonsense. Don't give me that nonsense. She had no desire of her own to become something like that, but if it would please the professor, she would try her best to give it a shot. They're still human. And at long last, the memory manipulation clinical experiments on mice began. Yuri, the mouse brain is much more simple than the human brain. It stores far less information in memory. So if you focus very, very, very hard to make its past memories disappear... The mouse's memory should disappear. That's real bad, that's fucked up. As the professor spoke, she pointed to a small corner in the room. There was a small mouse cage with a tiny labyrinth inside. You see, that mouse has been through that maze several times, so it's learned the correct route. Today, let's try to erase that mouse's memory. But Mr. Mouse took all that time to learn it. Yeah, Yuri's such a good kid, Yuri. God damn it. But this just horrible stuff. I know, it's a pity, but he's a smart mouse, so he'll relearn it quickly. Okay, I'll do it. Yuri walked up to the cage and tried using sense of sympathy on the mouse. The mouse's simple, abstract thoughts flowed into Yuri's mind. She searched through the mouse's memory to find the maze route. It was a process similar to recalling one's own memories. Which one of these is the maze route? At that moment, right before Yuri's eyes floated the mouse's memory of running around inside the maze. I just need to erase this, eh? Yuri wished with all her willpower for that memory to disappear. That's really fucked. And that very instant, an intense pain ran through her. Ow. Yuri returned to reality in shock. The mouse went limp in the cage. Professor, something happened to Mr. Mouse. Don't worry, he's just unconscious. But why? The memory that was in the mouse's brain is a lump of powerful information energy. It's quite different from the mouse's current sensory information. Because memories don't disappear all at once, they remain welled up inside the brain. During memory erasure, you hit a memory with the command disappear in the form of even stronger information energy. The inside of the target's brain reacts violently when you do so, which is only natural since the seemingly impossible event of instant memory erasure is forced to occur. Consequently, memory erasure is accompanied by brain damage. So why are you... No way. Yuri looked at the mouse with feelings of guilt in her heart. I mean, yeah, fine, I guess I understand that researching this stuff to understand how it works and whatnot, but like... Real bad. Are you frightened by your own power? Yes. This is but one of the things you can do with intercerebral information manipulation. Have you come to at least somewhat understand the reason rank S aptitude communicators are feared? Well, fine. It's understandable, but still. As Yuri hung her head in shame, the professor hugged her shoulders and spoke gently to her. Let's end today's experiment here. Yuri nodded softly, her heart fearfully throbbing in pain. Okay. Okay. My brain's going. Not great. It's... Okay, I have to. Alright, No, fuck that. I think I'll just continue tomorrow as well with this. Yeah, alright, so, okay. We'll pause for now and continue with the thing later, tomorrow, because I need to rest this time around. This time actually tomorrow. Right, then, okay, so, we'll just, but yes, that's, a lot of revelation, lots of information I need to just sleep on and process and to just let it sink in a little bit, because that's actually a lot of stuff. It's a lot of things. I'm unable to recap those things right now. But anyway, for now, I'm going to leave it be. And we'll leave you with another set of music recommendations. Gorky Park, welcome to the Gorky Park. Judas Priest, you've got another thing coming. Weird Al Yankovic, Generic Blues. It literally sounds like perfect to Generic Blues. Then we have, what is it? Miracle of Sound, Fire Far, and Def Leppard. Have you ever needed someone so bad? Kind of rushed putting this list together during the previous intermission, but whatever, that's fine. So there were a few mistakes there that I didn't notice. But anyway, I'll be leaving you with that for the time being. And yes, that's going to be a thing that I'll just wrap my brain and thoughts around. We'll continue with part 11 all of a sudden on the same week. Part 10 started and concluded, and then part 11 begins. Okay, right. Anyway, yeah, that's that. Bye-bye for now. See you in a few moments. Bye-bye. Ta-ta. Goodbye. Alright, hello there. Welcome back. We now to Root de Bull. We are going through things. So many fucking things happened previously. We got into a massive flashback, digging through Yuri's memories and trying to, well, basically learn that things are really not what they seem. First of all, she's been alive this whole time? What? Well, yeah, I have no idea what to think anymore. It's just fascinating though to see that the story is taking me for a wild ass ride. Now, there is a thing we have to do before that though. We're going to do a bit of a verbal exercise, a proper one, with a little bit of help from my past self. So we're gonna bring up, before we continue with anything else, there we go, another short story. This one's a bit long. It's still only 2 pages, barely. That's not much of a long story. Anyway. Ooh, sip of water first. Sip. Delicious water. The best thing you can ever drink. Now, short story 15. That's the kind of, okay. The sea beckoned him. A call to adventure, to commit acts of foolishness in the false name of glory. He sent me letters every month, gloating about all the wealth he's amassed. I suspected it was all trumped up bravado to make me feel better. He was never a good liar, and when he finally came home a broken man, I did my best to comfort and get him on his feet. But he wouldn't listen, insisting on these harebrained schemes and secret treasure maps. If only he could get back to the sea. I stopped him once, twice, but the third time he was too far gone, too determined, too mad. I left him. He was no longer the man I knew and cared for, yet he believed the opposite. Next summer I learned of undelivered letters. They were his, of course. I burned them. I moved on, but he would not. Years passed. I began to forget him, almost did. Until one day a chest had been delivered to my home. He was inside, dead and preserved, along with all his earthly possessions. I buried the body next to his parents and began reading his diary. He was not a well-educated man, and the passages were crude and to the point. Yet the simplicity painted a picture in my mind I could not erase. High tides, twist ship, 2 months, no catch, starving. Killed captain, I now captain, sail north, pirates we then. Good find, French ship, glowy cannons and dress. Hunting us, hunt back us too few. Surrender. Prison water bad, lost leg and 3 finger. Blue ear, cut off soon. Big mutiny, guards gone, all leave. Find new crew, captain good, fair, young, can't send letters. Then the handwriting changes to a far more elegant one. Note, he became infected with an odd disease in the Indies, turning him blind. By his request, I will make future entries. The captain is letting me continue to serve. In my reduced ability, I was afraid to return home in such a state. 7 months of nothing but pain. I don't want to die like this. I asked the captain for help, said he would think about it. Next day he prosed away from me to have my glory. I am to be bait for a large catch along with another to assist. He too is not well, I hear. Secret dynamite sticks in my fake leg. Just take it off and he said it will explode a bit later. Just need to get low. I may die, but I will take a British galleon with me. Final note. He did, in fact, not survive the task. We found him floating on a piece of broken hull, impaled by a sword. He succeeded and, presumably, died happy. He also asked me to write his will, included in a separate box alongside him, and develop what remains to his love, hopefully you, dear reader. Think what you will of him, but he was a reliable man, Simple but honest in his words, determined in his actions. I hope he will live on in your memory a good man. He will for me and many others among us. He left me more than I could believe, yet the lawman confirmed his claims to be true, at least the ones he could reveal were legally obtained. There was enough for a modest farm. I tend to it with my children and grandchildren, but the ill-gotten gains I would not spend for me. My conscience will not have my hands sullied by his deeds. They have become regular donations to the church and orphanage. My husband knows not of the truth about him, my first. No need for a dying woman to worry her old husband more. I go to sleep peacefully, like normal, but with the best sense of right in the world. Okay. Well, that's that. I'm not going to think too hard. Yeah, that said, I'm not going to spend too much brain power on anything today. I'm just going to continue with things. Anyway, what's the recap? Not much. We are going through Yuri's memories, who is alive and well, mostly well. And Natsuka's mom knew about this the whole fucking time, so that's a dynamic change entirely in their relationship. Jeez, okay, so far we have understood that Yuri chose to basically be allowed to be called dead for the sake of Natsuhiko, so they wouldn't incarcerate, both not incinerate, incarcerate. Very two different very different things. Anyway, and yeah, we're just gonna continue now. We got past where the point where she has learned how to use mind abilities to the level that Natsuko is at currently. I think she has some more abilities to show us though, because she learned how to do the things Natsuko does now at basically just a few months after she decided to be allowed to be called dead or something to the world. This facility's fucked up though. Fucking hell. Anyway, let's just fucking continue. This is okay. That was the only time. What? Okay, let's end today's experiment here. Yuri nodded softly, her heart fearfully throbbing in pain. Okay. But that was the only time Yuri felt such pain. Okay, so first time she used the mind merger. It's painful, but then she kind of got used to it. Okay. Her days devoted to experimentation went by fairly calmly after that. Before she had realized it, 3 months had passed since Yuri had come to Labo. Damn, that's a short amount of time, honestly. A personal bedroom had been made for Yuri underneath Labo. Is this the one we saw at the start? Oh, it was similar. I guess it would have changed. Anyway. That explains, so that was Yuri's bedroom the whole time. The very start. I thought that, maybe. I don't know, I would have to go back to the footage originally and check, but anyway. As she surveyed her new room, Yuri thought to herself, there's a lot more stuff here now, eh? Well, it's been 3 months. Stuff gets added. But Nikawa did her best to accommodate Yuri. She gave Yuri everything she wanted. Early clothes, piles of books, anything. It's a little inconvenient, but it's a lot better than the life I've lived before. Oh yeah, I guess she did have abusive parents, so anything is kind of better from her perspective, that's not... Overall, that kind of sucks. That sucks for Yuri. Just as that thought passed through Yuri's head, the room door opened and Dr. Tenkawa came in. Yuri, it's time for experiments. Yay! Teach your kid to commit, mind crimes. Yeah, great. Thanks. Hi, okay. Yuri smiled and replied to Professor's gentle voice. It's really fucked up, this whole situation. It's just entirely so fucking messed up. Oh my god. According to Dr. Takawa, Yuri's real parents had been told directly after the accident that their daughter had died due to the fire. They apparently accepted the explanation without question and left town immediately. Shitty ass parents. Since they were by no means nice parents, Yuri was not at all sad that she could no longer see them. That's still fucked up though. She was actually happier to be showered with plenty of love from Dr. Takawa instead. Guess? God, these family dynamics just... Yuri went with the professor to the laboratory in Area 5. What are we doing today? Another memory manipulation experiment, continuing off from yesterday. Alrighty, I'll try my best. After knocking the mouse unconscious, Yuri underwent various other memory manipulation training sessions. Today seemed to be a continuation of that. But now then, I'll be your target for today. Okay. What? Yeah, correct. I want to experience memory manipulation firsthand. Okay. But isn't it dangerous? Yes, it fucking is very dangerous. There's literally no way to know that your memories have been altered. You just believe them. They are your memories. Fuck, we saw that with Watasa. Like, that's... Don't worry, even if you erase a few seconds of memory, it shouldn't cause that much damage. Right. I understand. Okay, then let's start with memory erasure. Jeez. As Yuri spoke, she took a pen and wrote a few letters on a piece of paper. When Yuri finished writing Orihime, she showed the piece of paper to the professor. Okay. Okay, professor. Try to memorize this. Orihime, huh? Okay, I've memorized Orihime. Okay, I know Hime means princess. Oh, I don't know what Ori means. Yeah, no. Okay, then I'll erase that memory. Okay. Okay, Yuri's pretty smart. He's a pretty smart kid. Okay, so good. Yuri reached out her hand and touched the professor's cheek. At that very same moment, the professor's consciousness streamed into Yuri's brain. She recalled out the memory she wanted from among the extensive collection of complicated memories. Yeah. Ah, this must be it. Nope, she's gonna get a glimpse of something else. Maybe. Orihime. Okay, I've memorized it. It was a vision of what had happened about 10 seconds ago, but from Dr. Tenkawa's point of view. Erase this memory. Yuri focused hard and destroyed that part of the memory. God, that's just... everything about this is fucked up. Everything. Rackle. Okay, I did it. Done. The meaning of the words disappeared, and the visuals became covered with static. The memory disintegrated into dust and disappeared into the darkness of the professor's consciousness. Bloody hell. Okay. So that's what was happening. When Yuri returned to reality, she saw the professor groan in pain. Are you okay? My head hurts a little, but I'm okay. No need to worry. Yuri was relieved to hear the professor's words. In that case, question time. What did I write? There was a stumped look on the professor's normally wise and intellectual face. Yuri found it somewhat amusing. So do I. So she teased her. I can't blame her, honestly. Time's up. The answer was Orihime. Ah, Orihime, huh? Alright, I've memorized it for sure this time. Okay, so next up is memory alteration. Jeez, that's really fucked up. That's such an excited voice for doing something that's such horrible fucked up things. Okay, whenever you're ready. This whole facility is just... Well, everyone's fucked up here. That's just great. That's just fantastic. It's horrible. It's so horrible. Alright, here I go. Oh man, Yuri wished strongly to connect with the professor's mind. Jeez. Okay, man, that's... Teaching a little child to commit crimes like that, that's just... brilliant. And once again, the professor's consciousness streamed into Yuri's brain. Yuri called out the memory of a few seconds ago. Orihime. Alright, I've memorized it for sure this time. Change this memory. Yuri focused hard and... Orihime. No, it's good. Hikaboshi, huh? I've memorized for sure this time. The vision of the memory warped itself into another memory. It's just... I never normalize this kind of thing. That's just that... When Yuri returned to reality, the professor looked blankly at her. Oh my, are you already done? Yes, so now it's question time. What did I write on that piece of paper? Hikoboshi, right? The professor answered as if it were obvious. But Yuri smiled impishly and revealed the paper to the professor. It is fun, but it's still fucked up. Bzz. The correct answer was Orihime. You're right. The professor stared fixedly at the word Orihime written on the paper. It feels a little odd now that I've experienced it firsthand. Little odd, you say? A little odd? A little odd. Just a little odd. Just a little fucking odd. Your brain has been manipulated by a child. You literally... anything could have happened. That's... no, that's... a little odd is not cutting it. That is not acceptable. That is understatement of the fucking century. It does, doesn't it? Don't you be so happy? I mean, okay, fine, you're just 9 years old, Yuri. You don't understand the implications of what you're doing and what you're capable of. No. As Yuri and the professor smiled at each other, they really shouldn't be. A sharp voice suddenly bellowed. What do you think you're doing, Dr. Tenkawa? She's experimenting in a very, very dangerous and irresponsible way. That's what she's doing. The voice came from the speaker installed in the ceiling of the laboratory. Oh my. Looks like we got someone troublesome on our case. I don't know if I disagree with what this man is about to come and berate them for. The laboratory was monitored in a different room via cameras. The professor turned to the camera and answered in irritation. I filed the approval form yesterday to perform memory manipulation experiments today. What's the problem? I guess he didn't specify the target. He never said you would be the target. I thought we made it clear that AD injection was required during any contact with subject Y2. Subject Yuri. You're dehumanizing her, you fuckstick. Besides, you must be mad to experiment on yourself in the first place. She kind of is. I don't disagree with that. What are you going to do if you permanently damage your brain? That's fair. We've done more than enough animal experiments to prove that it's not dangerous. It's for the sake of advancing research. Please don't fuss over every minor detail. I mean, I guess she is a scientist at heart. But still. Once the Dr. Tenkawa finished speaking, the speakers cut out. Okay, but something about that exchange felt strange to Yuri. Why was the professor so insistent to perform experiments on herself? Guilt, I'm guessing? Partly, or something like that? I don't know. Professor, why are you doing this? The professor slowly looked back and spoke to Yuri. Actually, you see, there's one thing I'd like to ask of you. Oh, wait, oh. Is she gonna ask to erase the memory of her husband or something? Huh? Right now, Natsuko's body is in serious condition. I want you to save him. Alright, he's still in the coma thingy. Wait. Oh, wait, so it wasn't Natsuko who rewrote his memories. Oh. Oh, okay. Hikorin's body? What happened to him? It's hard to describe with words, so... Go back through my memories and see it for yourself. So she's gonna implant... the false memory of her being alive. Well, the correct memory of her being alive, actually. Okay. Look through my memories relating to Natsuko after the accident. You'll understand his current condition then. Okay. Jeez, okay. Yuri timidly dove into the professor's memory. Jeez. Okay, that's... Right! Things are getting really, really messed up. Fucking hell. It was memory of right around 3 months ago. In it, Natsuko was lying in bed in a hospital room at the Rokume City Hospital. But he wasn't asleep. He's in a coma, basically. He was frozen still, his eyes blankly open. Beside him were the professor, as well as Mashiro. Natsuko? Mashiro called out to Natsuko, but there was no response. Hey, what's wrong, Natsuko? Can you hear me? Hey. He can't hear you. Huh? He's been like that ever since he learned about Yuri's death. It's not just you, Mashiro. He won't respond to anyone. Not me, nor the doctors. He couldn't come to terms with the truth, and he shut his mind away. No way. Yes way, that's... Okay, so... oh my god, that's all. Yuri was still shocked when she returned to reality. Hikorin. She couldn't believe that such a cheery and energetic boy like Natsuko could end up in that state. Natsuko loved you so much. It was such a pity to see him like that, even though it was all a lie. I never expected that our lie would shatter his mind. Well, basically, moral of this entire story is, don't lie. It doesn't really help anyone or anything. Just come forth with the truth. Like it, man. Especially the kid's perspective. Like everyone's perspective. Oh, for fuck's sake. God damn. That's just... Okay. Yuria wanted to save Natsuhiko. That was why she sacrificed her freedom in his place. So why? Why did this have to happen? Extra drama and extra sip of water. Bloody hell. All the fucking emotions are just draining my energy reserves. There's so much. I'm gonna keep going for as long as I can. That was a question that likely nobody could answer. Well, within reason. It's still Sunday and next week is gonna start sooner than I wanted to. But even so, Yuri spoke to the one person she could rely on. I never could have imagined this would happen. What can I do? What can I do for Hikarin? I know, can't we just tell him that I'm alive? No, then he'll try to come and rescue you and stuff like that. I'm sure even Hikarin would. We can't. Right now, Labo sees your existence as a top priority secret matter. If Natsuko were to learn about your survival, then Labo would surely incarcerate him too. And besides, we have no means to tell him. He's unaware of his surroundings. Well, then there's nothing we could do but let Hikarin stay that way. No, that's what she's about to ask you for. When Yuri asked for that question, the professor shook her head. No, there is one way. Yuri, you've been training your BC ability throughout these past 3 months, correct? You might be able to save Natsuko with that power of yours. The professor's words shook Yuri. Professor, what do you want me to do? Basically commit another crime, but just, I guess, the ethics questions regarding this is so complicated, way more complicated than I can even delve into, or even attempt to delve into. But anyway, use your power to dive into Natsuko's brain and erase all of his memories of you. Eh? What? That's not what happens. That was the professor's plan. Or rather, even if the professor hadn't told her, Yuri had thought of that method as well, but that's not what they do. It was his memories of me that made Hikarin turn out that way. So to set Hikarin free, soon enough Yuri answered in a faint voice. As long as it will return Hikarin to normal. Yuri. That night, Natsuko was transferred from Rokume City Hospital to Labo. He was laid on a bed in the neuroscience laboratory. Yuri and the professor stood next to him and looked at his face. Natsuko didn't respond to Yuri's presence. His eyes were shut. He was put to sleep with drugs. If you manipulate his memories now, he'll never even be aware of it. Jeez. It still took some time for Yuri to find her resolve. After a long period of silence, she spoke resolutely. I'll do it. Okay. Please begin. Alright. Yuri nodded and looked at the sleeping boy's face. Looks like it's time to say goodbye, Hikarin. Yuri's mind was calm. She resolved herself to be calm, at least just this once. Even if you forget about me, I'll never forget about you, Hikarin. No matter how sad and lonely the rest of her days would be. She burned the image of his sleeping face in her mind, lest she forget about this day. Goodbye. Finally, Yuri reached out her hand and touched Natsuko's forehead. But that's not what they end up doing. Just then, countless visions floated before Yuri's eyes. They were memories that were not her own. Rather, they were Natsuko's memories of her. Yuri peered into the first of them. It was the memory of the day Yuri and Natsuko first met. Hey, why are you crying? Huh? Who are you? I'm Natsuhiko. Natsuhiko? You're Yuri Kotono, right? Your family just moved in nearby. Yee. Let's be friends. We live in the same neighborhood after all. Very straightforward and nice like that. It was a memory that Yuri fondly remembered herself, except this time she saw it through Natsuko's point of view. This sure brings me back, Hikarin. You surprised me at first, you know? You called out to me so suddenly that you seemed like kind of a rough boy to me. But you know, I was happy. Because thanks to you, every day after that was a fun day for me. But she couldn't just keep gazing at this memory forever. Yuri focused hard to erase this memory, but she doesn't. And soon enough, the vision grew hazy. You're... And it disappeared. Didn't. So what did they do afterwards? And at the same time, Yuri heard what sounded like Natsuhiko screaming his mental scream. Even though he was stupefied, he probably still felt the damage of memory erasure. I'm sorry, Hikarin. I'm so sorry. Yuri hardened her heart and transferred her consciousness to the next memory, upon which a different vision floated before her. What do you want to be when you grow up, Yuri? It was a memory of a conversation they had quite a while after they had met. Yuri thought, oh, I almost forgot this happened. When I grow up, there are a lot of things I want to be, so I just can't choose. When I grow up, I want to be your bride, Hikarin. Ah. Is that no, Hikarin? Do you hate me? No, I don't hate you, but it was a silly little conversation that only young children could have. It's adorable, though. Hikarin was so embarrassed. How cute. It is. Yuri felt a little embarrassed herself. I mean, you're only, what, like 6 months older than that, so it's still... But unfortunately, this memory could not be allowed to remain. Yuri wished hard for it to disappear. Okay, fine, so we're erasing his memories, but then we are recovering them afterwards or something. Or Natsuko recovers them himself or something, reconstructs it. And thus yet another memory of Yuri vanished from Natsuko's brain. Something... Obviously, this doesn't go to plan, we know that. Okay, that's 2 down out of hundreds, potentially thousands. Her work was proceeding smoothly. And yet Yuri's heart throbbed in intense pain. Yeah, no shit, emotional damage. Take 99 points of emotional damage every single time you do one of these. You can't keep doing this. You're only like a 9-year-old child. Like, that's... Like, you're mentally not prepared to do something like this. It's actually literally a significant portion of your lifespan. It's like actual... a single, maybe even double-digit percentage of your points. Like for me, erasing 10 months of my life, or however long they've known each other, would be not that significant, honestly. I wouldn't really care. It wouldn't really affect anything about my personality or anything like that. Only 10 months. I'm 28. Whatever. What the fuck ever. I'll regain those 10 months as if nothing happened anyway. I really blank out a lot of times. Lots of memories are so identical anyway. Anyway, she felt as if with each memory she erased, she tore open a void in her own mind. But even though it wasn't her own memories she was erasing, it still kinda is, dude. There's still lots more to go. I gotta keep it up. It's really fucked up. Man, that's... Yuri encouraged herself to continue with her work, with her very dreadful and just morbid work. Man, that sure was interesting. The story. Yeah, we read all the way to the end. But no. Is this a picture of your mom, Natsuhiko? Huh? Oh, yeah. Gone. Flap. Jeez. There is one thing that makes me glad I was born on a communicator. Huh? Well, it's because that's how I met you. Ah. If I wasn't a communicator, I never would have moved to this town. And erase that beautiful memory as well. God damn it. One by one, the visions came. One by one, she erased them. One by one, she killed all traces of herself within Natsuhiko. With each memory erased, Natsuko suffered intense pain. It's this is literally torture for both of them. This is torture, literally. And the pain in Yuri's heart grew little by little as well. Yeah, fuck. I'm not comfortable with this scene at all. This is really fucked up, honestly. But eventually she had erased just about all of the relevant memories, including the one of them coming to Labo just a few months ago. There's just one more memory, and I'll have vanished from Hikarin's mind. The memory of her... Yuri withstood the pain in her heart to peek into his final memory. But Yuri gasped when she saw the vision that spread out before her. It was a vast night sky filled with stars all the way across the heavens. The two children looked up at the Milky Way that nostalgic summer night. The stars sure are pretty, eh? Yeah. Natsuko responded to Yuri's words. The two of them were next to each other. Natsuko held Yuri's hand tight as he spoke. Hey, Yuri. Huh? I'll never forget what happened today. I'll never forget looking at the stars with you. Those were Natsuko's words. I mean, he doesn't, I guess, but... If Yuri but willed it, this memory would sink into the darkness. With that, everything would be wrapped up neatly. And yet... maybe neatly. Yuri couldn't bring herself to do it. It's just lies upon lies upon lies upon madness. Me too. I don't want to forget either, Hikarin. Huh? Within Natsuko's memory, Yuri's tears streamed out. Even though such a memory was impossible. It seemed Yuri began to fabricate his memory with her transcendental ability, almost unconsciously. What's wrong, Yuri? I don't want to erase this memory. That was the honest desire she had locked up deep within her heart. Her true feelings. Please, Hikarin, don't forget about me. Okay, of course she couldn't follow through to the end with this. Really messed up set of actions. Like, it's... With that final desire conveyed to Natsuko, Yuri returned to reality. Once she was back, Yuri cried tears in the real world as well. Yeah. And in her blurry vision, she saw Dr. Takawa peeking at her. Yuri. What's wrong? Did something happen? Everything fucking happened. That's what's wrong. Everything is wrong. Everything is wrong here. Everything. God. Yuri shut her eyes tight and squeezed out an answer. I'm sorry, Professor. I can't do it. Yeah, no shit, she can't. She's like 9 or 10 years old. It's like... it's just fucking traumatic. You just literally asked her to traumatize herself and her friend and... Yuri, what are you? The professor tried to stop Yuri. Well, it's mental abilities. You can't really stop her. Even if she goes unconscious, she can still do mental stuff. But before she could, Yuri used sympathy once more. Only a single memory of Yuri remained. But all of the memories Yuri erased still remained deep within her heart of hearts. Even the heart of the gods. For the memories she erased were the memories they shared. Which meant there was only one thing for her to do. Put them back in. Okay. Unshatter them. Hey, why cry? Yuri reconstructed the memory she erased based on her own knowledge. Okay. So there might be inconsistencies in the memories that we saw in the before crime route even then. Okay, okay. I can't... I literally cannot know if anything is real bad. Thanks, game. That's just fucking fantastic, honestly. It kind of is, actually. I'm not being sarcastic here. It's fucking fantastic. This is gripping. Revelations. Just... she restored memory after memory. I want to be your bride, Hikarin. Gee, everything. Yeah, we read all the way to the end. This is a picture of my mom, Natsuko. Yeah, that is the only thing that makes me glad I was born a communicator. It's because that's how I met you. She was restoring Natsuko's memory in a matter of moments. But doing so would mean Natsuko would once again know about Yuri's death. Well, and then he would once again blame himself and shatter his mind. So Yuri made her resolve. You've got no choice to replace the me that's gone with a me that's there. Yuri dove into Natsuko's memory of that fateful night. The night Natsuko learned of Yuri's death 3 months prior. Natsuko, please calm down and listen carefully. Yuri breathed her last breath last night. No way. Why did Yuri? In reality, Natsuko screamed after this. That was likely the very moment his mind lost its balance. In that case, this memory just needs to be changed. Yuri focused to do just that. To change this memory into a new one. And then Natsuko screamed, holding back his tears. That's a lie. Yuri can't be dead. He jumped out of his bed and ran off. He ran down the hall, searching for Yuri. Okay, this is just straight fabrication type. Yuri, you're around, aren't you? Please come out. No matter how many neighboring rooms he called out to, he got no response. Natsuko rushed out of the hospital in search of Yuri. He aimlessly wandered around town, but he couldn't find her anywhere. Not at her house, nor at the park where they met, nor in their nostalgic secret base. Yuri. When he tired of searching, the last place Natsuko headed was his own home. The house was steeped in darkness. Natsuko blankly called out her name. Yuri. But obviously, he didn't expect to get an answer. Except he's gonna get one now. However, just then, from across the dark room... Hikari. Yeah, okay, that... Yuri's voice called out in reply. Yuri? Natsuko rushed up to her. Thank goodness you're alive. You thought I was dead? But Mom was saying weird things. I'm not dead at all. Yuri smiled at Natsuko. That's the truth. See, Hikarin, I'll always be right here. I'll always be with you. So please, don't forget about me. Those were the words she could not tell him in the real world. But they were the words both Yuri and Natsuko wished for. Even if those words were a lie, they sank deep into Natsuko's brain, even though they're also the truth. And drove away the truth. But there's no way I'd never ever forget. Well, everything is just... Once everything was complete, Yuri returned to reality. The professor murmured in a hollow voice. Yuri? I'm sorry, Professor. I couldn't do it. Yeah, no shit, I can't blame her at all for that. Yuri felt genuinely sorry. She shouldn't. Honestly. He shouldn't. Although, I don't know what they're thinking at all. She knew what she had done was inexcusable. Erasing his memory would be inexcusable as well. It's complicated. It's bloody complicated. And that's fine. The professor's voice was kind, which only served to deepen the pain in Yuri's heart. Let's go before Natsuhiko wakes up. Okay. They quietly left their laboratory, leaving Natsuhiko behind. Natsuko was astonished. That was the whole story of what had happened to him. At least, maybe. Who knows if this hasn't been memory altered as well. Honestly, can we believe anything? Can we believe anything? I don't know. I mean, I have to, but they introduced memory manipulation, erasure, falsification. So, I literally... Okay. They pulled this on me like twice now. In the before crime and after days roots. Like it's all fake. So many of those things that we saw, I thought were like the story as told. Was unreliable storytelling. A complete record of the truth unrevealed to him even when he had dived into Mashiro's memory. Like she didn't know. I was only able to wake up from my stupefaction because of Yuri. But what happened as a result of her efforts? Of course, Natsuko himself was well aware of exactly what happened to him after that. Even so, in order to affirm the entire truth, he pursued Yuri's memories further. Yes, let's continue. The next thing Natsuko saw was far further into the future than what he saw last. A memory of the recent past. Natsuko naturally knew just how many time had passed. It's 9 years after that day, huh? Nothing of consequence happened between those 9 years, apparently. Yes, sure, consequential things did happen, but they're not relevant to the story right now. At least not in the more than a passing way. Yes, this was a memory of just around 2 months ago. That day, Yuri was in her own room in Labo, having a talk with the professor. July 7th has come again this year, eh? That was quick. Has it really been 9 years already? In all that time, Yuri had grown, both physically and mentally. As a test subject, Yuri had proven to be a major contribution to Labo's developed product, especially in the fields of AD development and BC installator improvement. She had not a single worry and spent her days in true peace. Okay. Yuri, how have these 9 years been for you? Well, they were fun. I'll take your word for it, I guess. You've bought me anything I've ever wanted, and I get to live in such a nice room too. Isolated from the rest of the world as basically a guinea pig that can be disposed of at any moment, eh? The only luxury she wasn't afforded was the freedom to go outside. But she had already stopped thinking about it. Besides, you're really nice, Professor. All the little things make me happy. You're like a real mom to me. Yuri, well, I guess... yeah. The professor wrapped her arms around Yuri's shoulders. Just as Yuri had said, the professor showered her with unrestrained love. The origin of that love was almost certainly due to the guilt she felt for Yuri. But regardless, the two of them forged a relationship akin to a real mother and daughter. They shared a deep understanding of each other. But now that today has come, we really do need to start thinking. About Hikarin, right? Indeed, now that today had come, there was something they knew were keenly reminded of, whether they wanted to think of it or not. Ever since that night when Yuri had manipulated his memories, Natsuko had started seeing a phantom of her. 9 years ago, Yuri fabricated a false memory for Natsuko that she was alive and always with him. And as part of that fabrication, she chose not to restore some of his memories, such as the particulars of the incident, and how his BC abilities had awakened. Oh, that too. God. It was a very selfish use of memory manipulation. Like, memory manipulation is very... in a very controlled environment, it could have very useful therapeutic uses, I guess, but it would have to be so fucking regulated to the point of being like, I don't even know. Oh, man, that's a theoretical debate about a thing that's not real, but man, some people are probably working on stuff like that, so it's probably might need to be a real debate to have. I'm sure people have had such discussions and debates about the moral implications, practical uses, and everything else like that. Way too big brainy for me, but still, anyway. It was a very selfish use of memory manipulation, one that left a scar on his mind, yeah, to say the least. A human's personality consists of an accumulation of memories. The spirit is the aggregation of information within the brain. The addition of fabricated memories created a decisive inconsistency with a reality. So in order to reconcile that inconsistency, Natsuko's brain created the phantom Yuri to restore mental balance. With just minor tampering to his memory, Natsuko became so firmly adherent to those lies that even his perception of reality became warped. Over these past 9 years, Yuri had become painfully aware of the sheer magnitude of the effects memory manipulation had on the human mind. Tell me, Professor, was I right to do what I did? I would say not really. I think there probably would have been a better way to do it, but fuck me if I can figure out what it is, but I can't say whether it was right or wrong, but it was true that you had no other choice. I guess, it was probably too hard for you to completely erase all of his memories on you with perfect accuracy to begin with. I guess there's that as well, but, you know, We didn't really know it yet back then, but as our research progressed, we established that there are several issues with memory erasure, haven't we? Oh, okay. Okay, this is gonna be super relevant for Watasa then, Watasa's current situation. Such as how in almost all cases, erased memories are eventually restored. Oh. Oh, that's... okay. Good point. Memories are lumps of powerful information energy, and memory erasure is an ability that destroys that lump of energy by striking it with even stronger energy, which in turn causes the memory to disperse into fragments that are impossible to remember. However, the fragments of the memory and the memory in its entirety do not completely disappear. With the passage of enough time, and given some sort of impetus, the brain can restructure the fragmentary information and restore the memory. Right. The target's reaction is also significant. After all, sudden amnesia would astonish just about anybody to the point where they would be driven to try and recall the vanished memory by whatever means necessary. And besides, after you and Natsuko met, you were always together. Even if you forcibly erased all of his memories, there's no doubt that somebody would eventually bring you up as a matter of discussion. And once that happened, Natsuko would notice the contradiction between his memories and reality and would reach another deadlock with the truth. There was no other way to break that cycle than to do what you did. Just as the professor said, it was found to be far easier to cope with memory manipulation than with memory erasure. When a certain memory is replaced with a different memory, the brain obediently accepts the change. The reason for that is that rather than undergoing amnesia, the target may experience various other phenomena, such as believing they simply remembered wrong. but Yuri was well aware of what she had done. I'm sorry, Professor, but that's not all there was to it. When she was a child, Yuri just couldn't bear having Natsuko forget about her. Which is totally fine. That's totally fine. That's a human reaction. That's reasonable. That is completely sensible and reasonable and acceptable, especially for a child. But as a result, she had to keep cleaning up the mess she had made. I guess. As Yuri reflected upon her actions, the professor suddenly looked at her watch. Oh my, it's almost time for that boy to arrive. Ah, right. Let's go, Yuri. It's time for your yearly date. Yes. This is also... okay. Yuri nodded and left the room with the professor. They headed for the Area 5 Neuroscience Laboratory. There, Yuri reunited with Natsuhiko. It's been a whole year, hasn't it, Hikarin? So they do this every year. They put him under... They knock him up with some drugs, they bring him here and... Man, that... Oh. Jeez. Okay. Okay. That's... yeah. That's... fucking hell. In front of them was Natsuko, put to sleep with drugs. Labo staff had brought him all the way here. Yuri, you'd rather be alone with him, wouldn't you? I'll be waiting outside. This... yes, thank you. This is... The professor smiled boldly as she left the room. This music is kind of a bit too jolly for this whole tone, the scene here. It's a bit too... Let me have a listen. It's a bit too happy for what is happening here. The just everything that just messed up. The professor smiled boldly as she left the room. Back on the night where Yuri agreed to her incarceration in Labo, she had asked the professor for one favor. Please let me see him, even just once in a while. Even just once a year. Please. That's all I ask. I promise. The professor kept that promise. Once each year on July 7th, the anniversary of the accident, Yuri was allowed to see him in this fashion. Granted, Natsuko himself was not aware of these little dates. He was under the impression that he stayed at Rokume City Hospital once a year for a yearly checkup. Okay, so that's... And once he was there, he would be administered with a sleeping medication and taken to Labo, and back again before he woke up. This is the only way we can meet, but it's plenty, is it? It's really... However, the purpose of these reunions wasn't only so she could see his face. He was brought here once a year to renew the memory of the Yuri that was inside him. The phantom Yuri created by his brain was, after all, a phantom and nothing more. If no action were taken, the phantom Yuri would gradually become disparate from the real Yuri. Okay, so that... Okay. So that... Okay. Okay, so that explains why she looks and behaves the same as she does in Labo. Okay. This was, in essence, maintenance to adjust for changes and disparities. Such was the truth of Natsuko's yearly checkups. Maintenance on the person's mind. Like that, I mean, guess... okay. I'm not quite sure if this is really for Hikarin's sake. It kinda isn't. It really doesn't feel like it is. But to be honest, I'm glad I get to see him, I guess. And being isolated in this place, in this environment has really kind of messed her up a little bit. Forgive me, Hikarin. I'm sure he will. He just has to cope with the information once we get out of this peeking inside Yuri's brain. Yuri gently bowed her head and stepped up to Natsuhiko. How was your year? And thus Yuri dove into Natsuko's memory. He was fine, probably. He's basically arrested himself into this routine. A year's worth of memories floated in Natsuhiko's mind. They were sights of an uneventful daily life. Yeah, Natsuko, food's ready. Sorry for always making you do this. It's fine, it's fine. I'm doing this because I want to see your smiling face. It was a scene of a morning before school. It's Mashiron. Yuri loved Mashiron too. Yeah, Mashiro is great. Though it was only in memory, Yuri was honestly glad to see Mashiro again. There you go, joking again. It's not for me, but for Yuri, right? Satir Maris. Apparently, Mashiro began cooking meals at Natsuko's house this spring. Though these newest memories include a lot of memories with Mashiro, which is nice, I guess. Come on, Natsuko, we're gonna be late. Sorry, I ate too much during breakfast. Each individual memory was trivial by itself, but, you know, daily trivialities combine a nice daily life. Natsuko, come shop with me. There's just a few things I want to buy. What? More anime shop visits? Why not? Not like you're busy, right? He very much isn't. But something bothered Yuri about Mashiro's facial expressions in these memories. Like she's being a little impish. Natsuko, look at this. Cute, right? So what you wanted to buy was clothes? Look, I don't really get girl clothes. I just want a boy's opinion. I get a less biased view, that's all. The way Mashiro looked at, spoke to, and behaved with Natsuko, that was Yuri getting jealous or something, made it quite obvious that she was falling in love with him. And Yuri is jealous. Super jealous. Mashiro, she likes Hikarin. But for some reason, but yeah, I guess. You fell for him, so why not her? I guess. He's being jelly. Well, that's silly. As Yuri returned to the reality, she gazed at Natsuko's sleeping face and whispered, "That's right. I can't keep Hikarin to myself forever." Yeah, you can't. Especially since you're the ghost in his memories, basically. And not... it would be way too cruel to do that to Mashiro. It would be. Mashiro's a way better girl than I am, after all. Oh, no, don't berate yourself like that. That's not correct as well. Like, you're two different people. Like, in very different circumstances who have made very different decisions. Like, come on, you're still just children. Hikarin's better off with her. At any rate, Yuri would never be able to properly see Natsuko in person for the rest of her life. Not true. It was already unnatural for her to be seeing him this way as it was. Correct. In that case, both Natsuko and Mashiro would be better off if they forgot about Yuri. A thought began to rapidly spread within Yuri's mind. She walked out of the laboratory with slumped shoulders to find the professor waiting in the hall. Yuri, how was your yearly date? Professor, do you think it would be better if I replaced all of Hikarin's memories of me with memories of Mashiro? What makes you say that again? It's just that if I don't, then Mashiro will never... Are you worried about yourself over Mashiro? Yuri nodded weakly. But after a moment of contemplation, the professor shook her head and replied, It would probably be bad to do that. Why's that? I believe that manipulating Natsuko's memories about you would cause serious problems in his mind. No, if I do it carefully, then... No, your existence is too important to Natsuko to just erase it. Even if that were the case, Natsuko's mind is already affected by innumerable problems. Right, there's that as well. So far, Natsuko has nearly noticed your absence several times, but he has yet to recognize it. That cognitive dissonance has resulted in bizarre behavior from him as well. Bizarre behavior? Yeah. For example, Natsuko has prepared hot milk for you in our living room before, correct? Yes. But since you don't actually exist there, the milk in your cup never decreases in volume, see? But Natsuko never questioned that fact. He empties the completely full cup of cold milk in the silk without a word. If you try and tell him that the cup's full, he just says, "Huh? What?" and makes a genuinely confused face. Is that a thing? Apparently, it probably is. It probably is to some degree. Denial. Oh, tip. I noticed that. Yeah, apparently is. Yes, it is. It's called denial syndrome, incidentally. He's had several other instances of bizarre behavior. For example, every day before he leaves for school, he turns the living room lights on. Yeah, there we go. I was questioning that every single time I mentioned it in the before route. What is that? The lights? Why? Because if he didn't, there would be no lights on at the home by the time he got back. Alright. It wouldn't make sense if there were no lights on in the house even though you were supposed to be there. Okay, that makes sense now. Okay. I was right to question that. It was weird. It wasn't a cultural thing. It's Natsuko being just making things make sense for himself. So to avoid that inconsistency, Natsuko turns the lights on before he leaves the house. He does it all unconsciously. Once she had heard all that, Yuri murmured in a quivering voice. And all because of me, Hikarin's just a little insane, yes. No, it's not your fault. It's everyone's fault. It's everyone's fault. This is... Denial syndrome often occurs when the brain encounters any sort of functional abnormality. Such cases have been reported worldwide, All of the bizarre behaviors Natsuko has demonstrated have been seen in other patients. So please, don't you ever say it's your fault again. Sure, but the cause of why he needs to have this thing happen to him is... Yeah... Oh, there better be some reconciliations, consequences, and like just dealing with all this stuff by the end of this, because like with everyone needs to face some consequences and the truth and stuff like that. Everyone, especially Natsuko and Watasa, and I need to like have. I don't even know what I'm thinking right now. It's it's a bloody mess. This whole situation is just... That didn't stop the tears from flowing. No, it wouldn't. Emotions don't need to care about logic. The gravity of our actions 9 years ago threatened to crush Yuri. Professor, what do I do? I don't know if there's anything reasonable to do. Let's see, if Natsuko were to become strong enough to handle the truth one day, maybe it would be okay to tell it to him then. Okay. Right? But how will we know when that time has come? He'll figure it out himself. We won't. So one day, I'll free you from Labo. I swear. Wait. Wait. Is this potentially implying that she might be the one who... Is she part of the terrorist organization then? Is she? Maybe, okay, I'm jumping to conclusions there way too quickly. That's way too far of a conclusion to jump to right now. That's a bit too much just based on one sentence. Okay, I shouldn't do that. Yuri doubted her ears. She couldn't believe the leading researcher in the field of BC would say such a thing. I mean, she's still just a person. Labo will no longer have a reason to restrain you once we've solved all the mysteries surrounding BC. False. I don't think that's true at all. I intend to devote my life to make sure that happens. Okay, so she did say something about I don't want to get others involved, and so did Ukita, that's... sip water. God damn. I doubt it will redeem me for my sin of destroying your life, though. I think you've committed some other sins there, but whatever. Yeah. But you didn't. Okay, so what happened 9 years ago then? What caused that accident? And even if I can't fulfill that promise, I will gladly do whatever I can to get you all out of here. Even if it costs me my life. Oh, is that a red flag? They just plant a red flag there that she's gonna die at the end of here. Truth be told, I've been secretly advancing preparations for such a plan. Okay. It's not something I can do alone, so it'll be a difficult journey. But one day, for sure. Okay, so it's either she's part of the terrorist plot thingy, or there's another set of events occurring there simultaneously with the terrorists, like not connected with what she's doing. What they're doing. Bloody hell. I mean, there's always the third faction, the Labo people here. But my mind is fucking spinning. We just need to move on. Otherwise I'll just go mad with speculation. it's man, this just randomly picked this visual novel out of the ones I had in my library, and it turns out to be fucking gold. It's fucking brilliant. I love it. Just so engrossed in it. Yes. The professor spoke remorsefully as she brought Yuri into a gentle embrace. Yuri understood. There was another wish that could not be granted. For the two of them had been together for 9 years. Yuri could tell the professor felt hopeless, even without using BC. BC research is endless, and I'm sure there are other reasons why they keep me incarcerated. Yeah, I mean, people have been studying the human body for millennia, and we still don't know everything about it. BC is basically magic, so it's even gonna take longer. And even longer forever to figure it all out. Not that I can imagine what those reasons are, But regardless, she questioned whether or not she had to stay there forever. She questioned how to free Natsuko and Mashura from the curse she cast over them. But without her finding a single answer to any of these questions, the days passed by. And then came the day of fate. Roughly 2 months after Tanabata, September 16, 2030. Early morning that day, Yuri went with Dr. Tikao to the neuroscience laboratory. Sorry for starting your day so early, Yuri. It's 6 minutes before the explosions happen. Okay. Focus, this is important. This is literally what happens right now. This is the start of the story. This is the third perspective that we didn't know we could get, that we need. This is okay. It's okay. We're doing a very important experiment today, aren't we? Indeed, it'll be a long stretch from around 9 to 12, so let's give it our best. Before the experiment, we need to examine your brain. Please change into the testing clothes. She does not do that. Miyako handed Yuri a change of clothes. In the surrounding area, the professor's colleagues were busy preparing for the examination. Scanning preparations complete. Send me the data from the previous 2 rounds. None of them showed any interest in seeing Yuri's naked body, but she still tried to find cover to change behind. But still, today's experiment is quite unusual, eh? The professor said it's to create a spirit. But is that even possible? Oh, condense information to a consciousness thingy. The moment Yuri pondered the possibility, the phone rang. What could that be? Puzzled, the professor picked up the phone. Yes, Tenkao speaking. We are in the middle of an experiment right now, so... Before she could finish, the professor's face froze over. Natsuko did what? Okay, so that's that. Okay. Huh? Yuri gasped too when she heard that name. As Yuri strained her ears to listen, the professor continued the phone call. Yes. What did you say? Mashura and Yui as well? Understood. I'll be heading over there right now. And with that, the professor hung up the phone. What happened with Hikari? I'm not sure, but it looks like those 3 came to Labo. How? That's a very good question. Incompetence on a bunch of people's parts. Oh, indeed. And right as we're running an experiment. Coincidence, but... When the world could be he'd need at a time like this. At so early in the morning. Right as the professor spoke... Explosions. The sound of an explosion rang out in the distance. Yuri was so taken by surprise that she dropped the testing clothes she was about to change into. What was that sound? Okay, as if to answer that question, more and more sounds echoed forth. Okay, so she's not... Either she's acting very well. I mean, she has 9 years experience, like, pretending in front of Natsuko about truth and lies, so... Okay, I'm jumping to conclusions. Intense tremors detected in B1 Area 1, intense tremors detected in B2 Area 3, blah 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 blah, fire, intense tremors, fire, security issued to evacuation, all gates barring those leading to area have been opened. Yuri didn't really understand what was going on, but she did know that something terrible was befalling the facility. Professor, Yuri became frightened and walked up to her. The professor wrapped Yuri in a protective embrace just as a clamorous broadcast echoed throughout the halls. This is an emergency broadcast. Explosions of unknown origin have just occurred within the facility. From our current understanding of the situation, explosions occurred simultaneously in 10 different locations inside the facility. Fires have broken out as well. That broadcast sent all the researchers panicking. Explosions in 10 different locations? Unknown origin? What do you mean, unknown origin? Okay, the frightened Yuri clung to the professor. The professor embraced her shoulders back and spoke. It's okay. This facility is equipped with layers upon layers of disaster prevention systems. No matter what happens, it shouldn't escalate to a large-scale disaster. Our safety is guaranteed, so there's no need to worry. Wait. She spoke in a voice calm to the core, as if she were trying to encourage Yuri. But why did this happen? Why indeed? There's no reason for an explosion to have occurred in this facility. It couldn't be. Terrorism. Terrorism? An anti-BC extremist group has been conducting acts of destruction within the city recently. Yesterday, they blew up the PRC, and that was thought to have been the end of their string of crimes. But could it be that their actual target was here? How did they find out this place was a BC research facility? They didn't. As far as we know, they didn't. Was there an information leak somewhere? No, it's a... Pretending to be a nuclear research facility has its drawbacks of drawing attention, like, hey, we could blow up a nuclear reactor. I don't know. The same goes for what their goal is. But it's too dangerous for us to stay here. That's for certain. Yuri, let's evacuate to somewhere safe. Okay, so they get separated though. The professor took Yuri by the hand and left the laboratory. They ran up the emergency staircase and headed to B1 Area 5. Professor, where are we going? There's an emergency shelter here in Area 5. In truth, Area 0 is the safest place, but going there requires tedious formalities. Alright, Area 0. Okay, Area 0. Alright, that's below Area N. That's the garden thing we saw down below, but someone got there and killed people as well. So it's not safe at all. Okay. The professor stopped and looked at the wall. There was a numeric keypad affixed to it. 107215. Okay, open. That's just the professor entered what appeared to be a password and the wall slid open, revealing a narrow passageway. They rushed up to a steel door deep inside and opened it. Yuri, I'm sorry, but hide yourself here. Hey, why are we separating? This place was designed to withstand minor explosions and fires. It's perfectly safe. Why are we separating? Alright. I'll go investigate what's happening. And there's the issue with Natsuko too, so... Okay, fine. Right, that's why. Right, logical. Understand? Wait for me here, okay? Understood. Be careful. The professor nodded and left the shelter. Yuri was left there alone. The sound of explosions kept going on and on. He couldn't see her. Why would he come now all times? Yuri was worried about them, but she couldn't just leave the shelter. I could at least confirm their safety. As Yuri pondered about how to do that, it hit her. Telepathy, empathy, everything. I know, I'll use BC. She could confirm Natsuko's current situation using senses sympathy. Furthermore, since the facility was now in evacuation mode, the BC insulated security gates were all wide open. Meaning she would in theory be able to use BC on him even if he was in a faraway area. Yuri focused her mind and tried using senses sympathy on Natsuhiko. Okay. The moment her senses sympathized with Natsuko's, an intense headache struck. The pain Natsuko felt propagated to Yuri. Girls beside him looked at him in concern. Natsuko, do you have a headache again? Are you okay, Natsuko? Hang in there. What's happening? This headache. Yuri knew the truth behind that headache. It was the headache Natsuko would always get when his mind was on the verge of collapse. The moment that thought crossed her mind, they heard another explosion from nearby. Okay. Natsuko promptly covered for Mashira and Yui. 1 second later, a blazing wind shot by and the kids were blown away. Are you two okay? They slowly got up after having fallen on top of each other. Yeah. I'm okay. The two groaned, but they appeared to be uninjured. Thank goodness. Yuri felt relieved as the three kids ran around, searching for an exit. She didn't understand what their objective was, but Yuri had a lone desire. I need to get those three out of here as soon as possible. Yuri focused further and sent Natsuko telepathy. Intense telepathy that worked not only to cause an auditory hallucination, but a visual one as well. Okay. So, okay. 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 Yuri. Okay. So. Okay. So. Okay. So. Okay. So that's what was happening. I guess she was creating the ghost and trying to help him figure things. Okay. Wasn't his ghost that he had created. Okay. He had never created that ghost of Yuri in his mind. Complicated. Man, this story really is big brain time. Fuck me. Natsuko stopped in his tracks, speechless. His eyes were no doubt seeing Yuri. Hikari, why did you come here? What about you, Yuri? Why are you here? You left home? Yuri was holding a conversation with him without issue. Though she was relieved, she had other thoughts on her mind as well. Play all this confusion. It's confusing my throat. I need to be drinking water. First I need to find the reason Hikari came to Labo, and with that information, I need to think of a way to get him to leave. Yuri immediately peered into Natsuko's memory. Okay, a recap of the entire everything. She looked through his memories of what he experienced the previous few days. How he came across the traffic accident, how he met Luis. All those things. How he heard about the terrorists from Mashro, and how they came to Labo to stop them. Failed at that, by the way. But were one step behind and the terrorist attack proceeded. The watch that broke and stopped at that time left a severe impression. Once she had caught all of the details, Yuri murmured in admiration and surprise. So that's what happened. Those were words were heard by Natsuko as well via BC. What do I do? Now that she had understood the situation, Yuri was at a loss for how to proceed. The first thing on the agenda would probably be to get them out safely. But there was something else that was equally important. Hikarin's troll trying to regain his memories. Natsuko had been tormented by his frequently chaotic memory for some time. He still lacked any of the preparedness to know the truth that the professor had talked about. But if he were to fall victim to panic disorder or stupefaction in this situation, it would mean certain death. After all, he'd nearly gotten caught in an explosive blast mere moments ago. If something were to happen to him, then even Mashiro and Yui could get caught up in it. Alright, Yuri doesn't know about... Well, I guess she does now about Luis's stupid nickname, but she refuses to use it as well. Okay, good, good. And even if the three of them did escape, at least for now, she might start using it later, which I will not acknowledge. And even if the three of them did escape, Natsuko would eventually regain his memory of 9 years ago regardless. And then his mind would collapse yet again. In light of the impending crisis, there was only one path for Yuri to take. In that case, I'll start now. And manipulate Hikarin's memory to give him the strength he needs to handle the truth. She didn't know how much time was left, but it was something that needed to be done while she guided them down an escape route. It was the only way. Hikarin has so many people there to support him now. As long as Mashiro and Yui are there for him, I'm sure Hikarin can handle the truth. He can handle the truth, eventually, so that's good. He couldn't before. To get him to accept the truth and free him from her curse. I'll rewind time for Hikarin as many times as it takes. Okay, so Okay, so no actual time travel. It's just memory. Recall. Okay. They really had me for a loop there at the start, at the end of the After Days route. But no, there is no actual time travel. It's just the brain. Which is, acceptable, I guess. And thus Yuri began manipulating Natsuko's memories. Wait, so... Right, wait... Okay, so... Is she changing them, or is she just making him recall things that did or did not happen? She guided him gradually towards mental preparedness. There were countless things she needed to do. First, she had to make Natsuko aware of his own growth. Next, she had to strengthen how he felt about his bonds with other people around him. In Hikarin's mind, time stopped 9 years ago. I've got to get moving again. Yeah. Okay, so the entire before crime routes hurt. Is Yuri doing... Man, okay. So that rewrites the context of the entire thing there. I guess, man, that's okay. Natsuko's memories seemed to be slightly warped by the actions of his own brain. Even Yuri could clearly see that his impressions of Mashiro and Luis were far worse than what they actually should be. Okay, so she... Okay, so what? Wait, so this thing, this fucking anagram that has been happening has basically been more or less Yuri doing the thing. So she's been manipulating the whole thing. Like, I mean, she's the only one with the powers to do that, advanced enough to... Okay, right, okay, bloody hell. Which was like the result of how he had closed his heart to others for many years. But if he kept that up, he would have no chance of handling the impending truth. And to that end, Yuri worked to mend Natsuko's impressions of the ones who supported him. Mashiro and Luis in particular, to more fitting, favorable impressions. Yuri took extreme care to ensure that her modifications would seamlessly blend with the reality. So, the before crime route is also a lie, more or less. Partly. So what we saw was that nothing is true. Nothing is true, is it? I mean, I have to accept that this is what we're being presented with, the actual truth, but man, that's okay. Right. All right. All right. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. All right. If a complication were to arise from the mending and Natsuko's mind began to reject Mashiro and the others, Yuri would take it upon herself to show him a fabricated memory of a tragic future that would await him if he didn't change his ways. Also, that's what those bad endings were. It was her just fucking tormenting, kind of. It was a drastic measure, to say the fucking least. But she couldn't think of any better methods. I mean, it is a stressful situation right now that they're dealing with. However, as a result of that effort, Natsuko's heart gradually opened. Meanwhile, Yuri also dropped some hints to the truth one by one. She hinted that soon enough his false peace would end and he would have to part with the Phantom. Natsuko was perplexed at first, but eventually he gained the strength to face the past. Okay, so those memories of Yuri in the house talking ominously, those were fabrications, stuff like that. Okay, and as he overcame several crises, he was able to keep moving forward, even in Labo. Oh boy. Because Mashiro and Luis were there for him. A case N has just been detected. In accordance with this emergency, security has shifted to blockade mode, locking down all gates and bulkheads. Okay, so that's why they lock down. Kei-sen is a runaway psychic person. They want to keep that in check, basically. So wait. Oh, wait, is that... So is that just straight up Yuri that the PA system is responding to? Her excessive use of BC here was detected by the facility, and it's like it decided, like, this is a bit too out of hand, gotta shut it down. It's loose, it's running about too much. Is that it? As she saw the result of Natsuko's progression, Yuri thought to herself, with this, Hikarin might be able to accept the truth. Natsuko's headache was gone as suddenly as it had come. His mental preparation was almost complete. All that's left is the finishing touch. The finishing touch. Make Natsuko realize the fact that Mashiro had been supporting him all these 9 years. If he only knew, he'd be thankful for Mashiro and would perhaps be able to cope with Yuri's death. The problem was how to open the gate after it had locked down, but Yuri happened to see that the professor's security card had been dropped in the stairwell. Natsuko hadn't noticed it, so Yuri tried to inform him of it, but immediately after she did, there was an unforeseen turn of events. Natsuko had gone to Dr. Miyoko Tenkawa's office and found something. A pile of newspaper articles covering the incident 9 years ago. Natsuko's body trembled. He looked towards Yuri in a daze. Oh no, it's still a little too early. But now that it's come to this, there's nothing I can do but gamble on Hikarin's mental strength. Okay. Yuri prepared herself and sent telepathy to Natsuhiko. Bye-bye. But not really? Now you understand why I said I couldn't go with you, don't you? It was a conclusive statement heralding the end of a long dream. No. Natsuko's innermost thoughts propagated to Yuri as well. Her confusion, his confusion, sorrow, agitation, fear, and despair. But even so, Yuri continued. Hikarin, it's time to say goodbye. I'm sorry for deceiving you for so long. Deceptions upon deception stuff. It's all... You're still deceiving him though, right now, in this instant, technically. No, not technically, but actually. I wanted to support you, and you have been. I'm sure you'll be okay without me now. You've noticed it these past few days, haven't you? You're not alone, Hikarin. Yuri spoke sincerely, to move Natsuhiko's heart. But her voice didn't get through to him. For when Yuri ceased the telepathy transmission and erased the phantom, Natsuko groaned faintly and screamed madly. No way, that still wasn't enough. Don't worry, Mashiro's gonna be there in a moment. Yuri fell into despair once more. She had no idea that the curse of hers that bound him was that strong. And then the doors opened and Mashiro rushed in. Natsuko, I heard a scream. What happened? Yuri. She disappeared. Right. And then he goes into Mashiro's memories. Oh man, it's all... like it's an onion of just like layers upon layers of memories and going into flashbacks and flash forwards and... No, not flash forwards, but like... Natsuko flared up at Mashiro. Like right now, Natsuhiko is looking at Yuri's memory of how she was manipulating Natsuhiko's brain and how he's about to go into Mashiro's brain. Like fucking Inception layers upon Inception layers. Don't make me. I never saw that movie, but I don't even think it went this deep and far into the brain. I mean, it was just dealing with dreams within dreams. And this is convoluted. This is a bit more convoluted in a way, I guess. But anyway, Natsuko flared up in Mashiro, as if to spew out the sorrow of losing Yuri and the bitterness of having been lied to for 9 whole years. I don't think I could explain coherently to anyone that's coming into this series, like, at this point. Like, no, go back to the start. Just go back to the start if you're confused. It makes more sense, I guess. I don't know if it does. I don't know if it does. It does. It's in chronological order as the story is told. At least that's what I can say. But anyway, still. Yuri's gone, isn't she? She's been gone for 9 goddamn years. And you just played along with my madness, didn't you? Is this your idea of a joke? It's not even Mashiro's fault at all. No. Both Natsuko and Mashiro's eyes welled up with tears. And as she observed the situation through Natsuko's eyes, Yuri too was saddened. No, Hikari, you mustn't hold it against Mashiro. She's been there supporting you all this time. Yuri was rife with regret. What should I have done? What should I do for Hikari? But before Yuri could think any further, the unexpected happened. Suddenly, Natsuko's vision was engulfed in darkness. Okay. Huh? His consciousness was abruptly thrown into that endless darkness. Huh? What is this? Okay, so literally, Natsuhiko is viewing Yuri's brain memories as of Yuri looking into sharing senses with Natsuhiko, who is now jumping into Mashiro's memories. That's so fucking convoluted. But in context, it makes perfect sense, I guess. Fuck me. Fuck me, this is seriously big brain. Okay. We're gonna end this part once we are back into reality, outside of these layers upon layers of diving into memories. So that next week we can start properly then, so that I can have like a day or a couple, however long it's gonna take for me to find time to do another one, to sort out these memories and just like let my brain like compartmentalize and fixate it with the rest of the story and everything else. Because yeah, what is this? That's a very fucking good question. I don't know anymore. Natsuko was astonished, but Yuri understood what was happening. No way. He couldn't sympathize with Mashiro's mind. The third ability, Sense of Sympathy, had awoken within Natsuhiko. Though he had shown signs of it previous night, it was still an unexpected but welcome surprise. That's it. Now Hikarin should be able to understand Mashiro's feelings. Natsuhiko peered into Mashiro's memories, bewildered what was going on. And thus, Natsuko learned the truth that Mashiro had been caring for him all these 9 years. And hugs are nice. When he returned to reality, Natsuko tearfully apologized to Mashiro. Mashiro, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Huh? You've always been there to support me, haven't you? You've always been there for me, right by my side. As she listened in on their conversation, Yuri thought to herself, thank goodness, this is a nice scene ultimately. It was very nice. Now Hikarin and Mashiro are both truly free from my curse. Don't call yourself a curse though, come on now, it's circumstances are really fucked up and complicated. And now her role was complete. With that feeling of closure, Yuri calmly disconnected from Natsuhiko's mind. Her own senses returned to her as soon as she did. What spread out before her eyes was an empty room, but the sight of the lonely room began to blur. Huh? Why am I using a bit too much of your powers? Yuri realized that she was crying. Natsuko was free from Yuri's curse, free to be with Mashiro. Also now Yuri, you're all alone, kind of. She thought that was what she had always wished for, and yet Yuri felt as if her heart had been torn in two. I mean, you do have to be a bit selfish for your own sake. You can't just be selfless and like sacrifice yourself endlessly for others. Your own happiness matters. It really does. You can't you have to ensure your own, happiness and safety and security and whatnot before you can provide any of that to others. So, lesson learned from here. No, this is for the best. It's not for your It's not the best for you, Yuri, so it's not the best. Not for the best of anyone, really. With that belief, Yuri wiped her tears. Just then, she heard a knock on the shelter door. Ah, Professor. No, she would have opened the door. She knows the code. This person doesn't. Yuri was taken aback and rushed over to the door. If the professor had returned, then Yuri wanted her shoulder to cry on. She was the only one who understood Yuri, the only one who shared her sadness. Someone she could truly call Mom. But when she opened the door, hello, she found not the professor, but an unfamiliar man standing there. Hello, Watase. Finally found you. You're a person of interest to this lab, right? Who are you? I'm a rescue worker. I'm here to save you guys. His voice sounded familiar. It sent shivers of anxiety down her spine. Where have I heard that voice from Natsuko's memories? She soon remembered. Yeah, there. She had heard that voice in Natsuko's memory. He was one of the terrorists. You're with Q? Huh? The man unintentionally gasped. For a moment, his face froze over. But that face soon warmed into a wicked expression. Hey, did you cheat in USB-C to read my mind? No, actually, she just remembered from reading someone else's mind. Well, whatever. You're coming with me. And with that, the man grabbed Yuri by the arm. No, stop it. Please don't struggle. I won't have to get violent as long as you behave. It was very hard to take the man's words at face value. Then I'll just have to erase his. Yuri plotted to destroy the man's memory and run, but before she could, a pain ran through her neck. Ow. Though she didn't understand what had just happened, Yuri tried to use BC. A lone desire has been injected. Huh? But nothing happened. She couldn't destroy the man's memory. She couldn't even use sense of sympathy itself at all. Why? I injected you with a BC inhibitor. Your abilities won't work on me now. No way, or on anyone. Without BC, Yuri was nothing but an ordinary, powerless girl. As Yuri despaired, the man wrapped his arm around her neck. He applied pressure to her carotid artery. Yuri tried to shake him off, but the man was too strong for her to even budge an inch. Yeah. Suddenly, her sight blacked out. Hikari, Mashiro. As Yuri's consciousness faded, she prayed. But the others would safely escape from her here without encountering this man. Oh, no. Okay, Yuri was woken up by a strange sound and an extreme heat. Huh? Towards Hikari. For a moment, she remembered the time she was locked away in Labo with Natsuko, so she unthinkingly called out his name. But she was mistaken. It was currently September 16, 2030, 9 years after that memory. Yuri looked around. She didn't see the man, but the hallway was engulfed in flames. The fires had probably spread while she was unconscious. I gotta get away. Yuri stood up in confusion and ran away from the flames. As she ran, Yuri thought to herself, how long have I been unconscious? Where'd that man go? The man had disappeared after knocking Yuri out. Yeah, what's up with that? What was his thought process there? I'm confused. I'm confused about his motives, though. If he wants to kill and get rid of PC users, then why not just choke her to death there, then and there? Why not kill those kids back in the abandoned warehouse? Anything. Yeah, I'm confused. From that observation, she couldn't understand what his goal was at all. Yeah, me neither. No, there's no time to think about all of that. First, I need to find a way to survive. Yuri shook off her doubts and ran through the hallway. On the way, she stopped by a room and obtained a level 6 security card that had been left behind. She tried going to Dr. Mikotenkawa's office, but saw no sign of Natsuko and the others. They probably escaped by their own means. They didn't. Thank goodness. Nope, that's an assumption you made. Right when Yuri sighed in relief, the flames assailed her. Oh. Yuri kept running as the fire and smoke chased her. She went through the blazing factory, and then into Area 1, but there were no escape routes to be found. Uh-oh. There was no longer any way out. Every path she took was blocked by fire. That room. Yuri plunged into a nearby room, every fiber of her being focused only on escaping from the flames. She lowered her body and crawled under a desk so as to not breathe in the smoke. Okay, but she could tell it was only a matter of time before that room burned up too. Am I going to die here? No, not yet, at least. Okay, so basically this is where those two paths intersect. She thought that it might not be such a bad thing. Don't think that way. That's never a correct way to think. Even if she were to survive, she probably would still never make it out of Labo. As long as Natsuko and the others managed to escape in the end, that was probably good enough for her. That's right. The lie we kept telling is now coming true. That's all. And with that thought, Yuri prepared herself. But then... boom, she heard an explosion from outside the room. Yeah, the explosion we heard at the start. Uh-oh. Yuri couldn't help but scream. The door to the room was crushed and flames rushed in. And then the force of the flames fiercely intensified. Perhaps something explosive had caught on fire. Uh-oh. The heat was so intense that it was difficult to breathe. A heat haze rose from the entire floor, warping the sight of Yuri's surroundings. As she watched the haze, all of the preparation Yuri had made to accept her death turned into fear. No, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Yeah, she's only like 18. It's way too young to die. She kept screaming in solitude. The fear of actual impending death blew away what little resolve to die Yuri thought she had. A heat wave blew through like a windstorm. Smoke filled the room. Uh-oh. Yuri coughed violently. Her eyes watered. But then she heard voices from somewhere in the distance. Get a hose ready. Roger. They were female voices. Whoa, out of the way, Captain. Commence water release. Roger, here it comes. Judging by the conversation, they seemed to be firefighters or something. When Yuri lifted her head, she heard the sound of water coming from the other side of the crushed door. They were extinguishing the fires outside. The violent heat wave rapidly died down. There's no doubt about it, they're firefighters. Someone, help me. She heard a voice in response. Someone's in that room? Yuri called out once more to whoever it was that was rushing over to her. Someone, help me. And finally, the owner of the footsteps came running into the room. Are you okay? Okay, so yeah. Okay, so this is where it intersects. Okay, so the question remains of what Yuri did. Where did she disappear that first time and the second time we know what happened. But as soon as she made eye contact with the owner of the voice, Yuri gasped in shock. Standing there was the man who had just attacked her earlier. Oh, it was like 2.5 hours ago. Why did he come to save me? She was thoroughly confused and understood nothing of the situation. Totally fair. The man's face stiffened too for some reason, and he froze in place. Meanwhile, the fires drew closer to Yuri. Eventually, the man shot off like a bullet. Straight into the room to save Yuri. That's Natsuko's doing. Okay, now we're flashing back out or something. Transcending reality. Okay. Natsuko returned to reality. Okay, and the rest is what we know. Okay. The rest is what we know. The rest is what we already know. Alright. Fuck that, I'm continuing. Are you okay, Hikarin? Natsuko heard Yuri's voice, but his vision was still blurred. I want to see the consequences of what he feels, what he thinks about all this. But in his eyes were tears. Yuri, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for deceiving you all this time in more ways than one. So many fucking layers upon layers of deception and everything. Man, Yuri said the same words she did back then. Please don't say you've deceived me. Well, she kinda did, though. It's technically accurate. Natsuko had been free for 9 years in exchange for Yuri's confinement. It was an unbearable truth for him. Damn, what the hell is wrong with me? Nothing. It's not your fault entirely. Like, at all. Like, it's Labo. They're at fault here. For years and years, I've been protected by the girls precious to me. And I took it all for granted without ever realizing how much they sacrificed for me. How could you? Your memories were literally altered. Natsuko was tormented by bitterness and shame, although he's kind of dense, though, in other regards. So, but still, how can you be so nice to me? Because she loves you, that's why. Huh? Even though it's my fault, you've wasted 9 years of your life. Don't say wasted. You never held a grudge, you never complained, and even today, you worked hard to save me. Why? How can you go so far to do all that for someone like me? Why can't you put more value in yourself? That's a good question. Do value yourself. That's important. You are valuable to yourself. Don't forget that. Yuri calmly answered. Hikarin, see, I thought I would be trapped in here for my entire life. So I thought it'd be for the best if you forgot about me and lived a happy life with Mashiron. That's why I believed. That's really all there is to it. Yuri gave a lonely smile, as if she had given up on something she had long thought to be precious. When he saw that look on her face, Natsuko understood her feelings. I see, Yuri had given up. To survive her hopeless days, she gave up every hope of her own future. But that was not something a normal person could withstand. That's not something a normal person should ever go through. In her heart of hearts, Yuri must have wanted to be saved. Yeah, everyone wants to be saved, more or less. After all, she did ask me to save her. She asked me, and not anyone else. And she had appeared before him and made him look into his own mind. She may not have realized it herself, but there was perhaps a slight gap in her reasoning. But Natsuko couldn't overlook that. Others might overlook it, but there's no way I could. Natsuko wiped his tears and gazed at Yuri. Say, Yuri, do you think lost time can be recovered? No, you just make up for lost time by creating new time. Going forward, you don't dwell on the past. That's impossible. Even if you change your memories, you can't change the truth. That was an obvious answer, but not one Natsuko could approve of. Why not? Fuck the past, go forward into the future, make new memories and stuff like that, instead of dwelling on the fucking past. Piss off with the past. It doesn't exist anymore. The consequences of the past, well, the consequences of actions taken in the past exist in the now, and the future is only what you make of it. That also doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is the current reality. The past is no longer relevant, and the future is what you make of it. That's all. No, even so, I'll still do it. Why? I swear I'll recover the time you've lost. You literally can't do that. You say you'll spend the rest of your time imprisoned in this place. That's ridiculous. That can't be allowed to stand. That is correct, I agree. I swear I'll free you even if it costs me my life. Oh, he's saying exactly the same thing his mother did. Even if it costs you your life? No. If you die, then what will I have spent all those 9 years trying to save you for? That's a good point. That's a very good point. Please, allow me to do at least that. No, fuck that. You're not gonna heroically sacrifice your life, she's gonna heroically sacrifice her life. I really enjoyed meeting you and spending all that time with you up until today. If you're telling me that it was all a lie, then I'll just turn that lie into the truth. If you say you were a phantom, then I'll change you into reality. That was the one thing he could do for Yuri. The only way he could repay her for protecting her all these 9 years. Let's escape from this facility alive, Yuri. Yeah, there we go. Because I'm sure that's what you really want. Yeah, everyone survives. And Watasu regains his memories and becomes a reformed person or something, maybe? I mean, whoever actually committed... okay. A bunch of people are gonna have to go to prison at the very least at the end of this story. Either prison or death. Like a proper death that's a satisfying one, not just like a bullshit bad ending death. I don't need those. But anyway, yes. Consequences will have to be had. Otherwise this is incomplete. Yuri's eyes widened, but eventually her surprise was painted over with the colors of joy and relief. Yes. That one word signified the sentiment she had locked away in her heart for 9 years. Her hope for freedom. Natsuko nodded firmly and continued. Alright, but there's a lot we've got to do before that. You're right. First we need to save Mashiron, alright? I mean Watasu's on the case there. Yeah, hopefully she's okay. If you're worried, then why don't you use sense of sympathy on Captain Kasagi one more time? Huh? You can use sense of sympathy long distance? Well, yeah, you just went through her memory. She's been doing that the whole time. Okay. Actually, yes. Okay, fine. This is a perfectly good spot to end on. And my voice is getting a little hoarse. I can feel it. Something's aching there. Alright. With that, we can head into the outro segmentum of now. Alright, so. Oh boy. Alright, we went through all of her memories. We have understood that everything was an onion of lies and deception and manipulation, and everything is Everything is fake and false and madness. Okay, right then. So, yeah, all right. That's that. Okay, cool. Now, is there anything else I have to address? Nah, I'll just let all that information just slowly sink into my brain over the course of the next like day or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, however long until I actually get a chance to do this again. Continue. I will find a chance. I will make time, even if it's only during the weekends. I will make the time. But yes, now, then, what else? We are in the outro, so there is no music recommendations here. We are... Yeah, there's just a lot to ponder and to handle and deal with, and just let it be. Let it be. Let's just descend outwards, away, just away a little bit, as it is time to once more go back to Reign of Dio, Act 1, Rainbow, Volume 2, Rising, Chapter 11, Run with the Wolf. By the embers of daybreak, a gathering of elders mutters of omens, the howling wind, a hollow cry, some hole in the sky, and the holy light. Nonsense as always, just leave them be. The day is short, and there is much work to do. Echoes of tragedy from nearby arrive on the lips of travelers and gossips. More nonsense. No peaceful rest to be found within, so best take a break further out. The forest is nice and quiet, yet many others call it eerie and far too empty. Superstitious fools. Winter is coming and nothing more. The warm call of a maiden flows in from outside. The pool is cold. Suppose it is fair to let her in during the snow for keeping the forest pleasant for the rest of the year. The last warm night before this new hunger took hold. Seems everyone was less of a fool than it appeared. Now the biggest fool of all, however, is starving. Spring arrives, yet few remain to greet it. Condemned and abandoned, only fools travel these parts now. A rare treat. How else could it be, though? The wolf in sheep's clothing desires to survive each winter too. And now to pick a new set of clothes and make way to the next dwelling. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.